everybody, hailing frequencies are open, and welcome back to Shield of Tomorrow, our Star Trek RPG here on Geek and Sundry Live. How's everybody doing today? Y'all feeling good, except for Gina, who's sick and still here somehow?
It's okay, I've got tea and chocolate.
Are you on Gather Your Party tonight? My God, woman.
Yeah.
All right, well, let nobody question Gina's determination. That is...
Was there someone questioning?
You just try to keep me away from hanging out with friends and doing art projects.
All right.
Just try.
Now I know how to get Sam to kill someone for me. See, someone was making fun of Gina.
What?
Point at them. Excellent. I have a weapon at my disposal now.
Live by the sword, Eric.
So Hector's running a little late because we live in Los Angeles and there's traffic in this town.
And because of the time dilation.
Yeah. He's frozen. Did anyone unfreeze Hector?
He's still in a
You should be running this game.
state.
Yeah, so we don't have too many announcements tonight. There was one. Something is happening tomorrow, and I cannot remember. Oh, right. Tomorrow's International Tabletop Day.
Whoop whoop.
It's gonna be pretty crazy. We're gonna be doing, streaming all day, basically. You won't see us, but we'll be around. I'll probably be popping into the chat channel from time to time. Is anybody else? Who else is gonna be on the channel? You guys? Cool. What are y'all doing? Are you allowed to say?
Yes,
Is it on the docket?
I think so.
What are y'all doing?
Yeah. I'm doing Marvel Contest of Champions.
What are you doing, Amy?
Same. Which I'm really excited for, but and now it's like, okay, I just got to get through this weekend without making any faces at any time during that game.
Oh God, yeah.
It'll be good. We'll be
You've been doing
good.
so well this week.
Why can't
Nothing
you
to
make
see
faces?
on this spoiler face.
Because they don't.
There's a movie that just came out.
Oh, that kind of. Okay.
Yeah.
Spoiler
Okay,
face.
I was like, you can't make a are you not allowed to be excited during Marvel?
No, it's just we're.
They can't stop us.
No.
That would be funny.
I see. Seriously though, no spoilers. Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
Nope,
me either.
no spoilers here.
I
Me
know,
either.
right?
Matt and Marisha went and
getting
saw
them
it
for me.
today, and I've got to avoid them for the next 72 hours. No, they're pretty good at not spoiling stuff.
I can't imagine they would spoil.
Yeah, they wouldn't, unless they decided they hated me overnight, which is entirely possible.
I mean,
Eric,
Anything could happen.
Have you been throwing shade at Gina?
It's no.
Then we'll be fine.
I don't have an announcement, but I have something for everyone.
Oh,
So last week we went to the Museum of Natural History.
shield trip.
We did a shield trip for Eric's birthday, and Sam and I went on a secret mission.
We did.
And we found fun little rocks for everyone. So
Yeah. And my
yes.
because my brand is strong, I mean dice.
So first
Right,
off,
right. Oh God, right. Leave
for
it-
Commander Rue, we have strength. Can you pass that down?
Oh, snap.
It's also spotted, y'all.
Yeah.
This is
for Hector, he's not here, but we know how he feels about stupid sexy Desert, so he has passion.
Excellent. Just slide that
And
right
Kurt.
there.
We could not.
Don't explain it. When he shows up, don't explain it. Just have it just sitting there.
Yeah.
That is it.
So, Eliza, we saw this one, and obviously this one is for you.
I know.
Prosper.
Yeah. Oh my God. I thought it was gonna be science, but this is even better.
It didn't have a
And
science
it's green
rock.
like Vulcan blood.
Which is heavy in copper.
Oh my
For
god.
the beautiful Dr. Shishiro's, it is not only green, but it says discover. Discover new life.
what's yours?
For
You're not even in the order.
for Ensign Lark Sage, it's imagine. Yeah. For our sweet Mala Ren, it's loyalty. Oh dang! And for Eric, because he is the one who holds us all together, we have unity.
I thought I was gonna say horse glue.
Yeah. He also, it's
I like
called
it.
rubber bands. But yeah,
Aw,
so you
thank
can get.
you.
I'll give it to you during the break. But
Yeah. By the way, you're all fired.
everyone gets a rock.
No, it's like I can.
Beautiful. And it's a worry rock, so you can go.
Oh God, am I gonna be united?
it's a stress-
Am I gonna be
Oh my
united?
god, the divinity. Oh my,
Yeah,
I'm very sad.
Yeah, it's a worry rock.
Welcome to the rest of the game being us doing this forever.
Yep.
Do I have to roll, Captain? Do I have to roll?
Yeah.
Maybe I won't snap as many pencils now.
Maybe we can get a sponsorship from like the American Geology
rocks?
Institute or something. They can run an
we should be
experiment to
giving
see.
them money.
They can run an experiment to see how long it takes y'all to worry through stone in human
Don't
flesh.
worry, Data.
Don't challenge me.
Okay, sorry.
You need a sponsorship.
How many words does it take to get to the back of this round?
So, in all honesty, we're gonna. That's pretty much it.
Yep,
for
that's
the
it.
announcements.
Sorry,
we're just
guys.
gonna dork
Everyone
around
gets
for the
a rock.
announcements.
The end.
Thank you.
But yeah, International Tabletop Day is tomorrow, so please tune in. Yeah, we're gonna be. I'm gonna be here in the office. I might jump online to play some Overwatch or something. So I'll be around here in studio. But yeah,
Did you just super miss the point of tabletop day?
Exactly. I was like,
You're gonna be in an office full of nerds.
Last year I ran Trail of Cthulhu, but this year it was a lot of fun.
It was the first horror game I'd ever played.
It was the first time I ever ran a Cthulhu Mythos
I
game.
have some games
So
that fit in my purse. I will show up with them tomorrow. We will work it out.
Okay, cool. I've got a lot of RPGs I want to play.
Game.
I know. I might. I tell you what. I'll bring stuff tomorrow and we'll see. Are you gonna be here? You're gonna be here, right? Okay.
Well, now I am.
Okay. So unless there's any other announcements, I think yes, Sam. I had a feeling that might be what you were gonna say. All right. Without further ado, let's launch into tonight's episode of Shield of Tomorrow.
woo.
No, same words.
Welcome back. I was just going to say before we went live, leave it to Sam to find ourselves in the Museum of Natural History surrounded by dinosaur fossils and ancient rocks and dinosaur plushies. Sam sniffed out the dice
Dice rock.
in the museum and
They're
found them.
beautiful. They're really
Oh, Hector,
beautiful.
perfect timing.
Is Hector here?
Yay.
Oh, yay, Martinez.
Just in time for your present.
We just went live. Yeah, we came back from our intro.
I can't pick.
You gonna change real quick? Martinez is out of uniform. He'll jump in a second.
Good dice.
This is a
I
good
have
start to the
fun.
game because it
Yeah,
kind of
no,
brings
wait.
home that we're actually, despite the studio, we're actually just a bunch of rejects that are playing RPGs at a table with friends. So he's gonna go get dressed for that, and
I'm actually just 3 halflings in a Starfleet uniform.
I believe it. So, real quick, because I need Hector here for the recap since he's already here, but just to give everyone the heads up, we had a very successful crossover episode last week. Thank you, everybody.
My soul felt it.
Did you? I'm going to be posting character sheets, by the way, because we've had that request from the community that you guys wanted to see the character sheets that I came up with because I slammed 2 systems together.
have
You still
mine.
have yours?
Yeah.
It's real rules light. That's the trick to making a crossover system is keep it rules light so you don't get choked up on that. And thankfully, Dave Chapman, who again the creator of the Doctor Who RPG system, helped me. He was my compass to find. He also had a hand in the beginning stages of design for Star Trek Adventures. So, with his help, we were able to come up with sort of a cross system, and I'll go ahead and post those character sheets up. But yeah, we kept it rules light with emphasis on how powerful story points are in Doctor Who, because the essence of story points in Doctor Who is literally to warp the narrative. Because in Doctor Who, y'all are heroes that are saving the universe. In Star Trek, y'all are a team that's working together to explore the galaxy. So you can kind of manipulate the narrative a little bit. And Doctor Who is where you can like drop 12 story points and merge with the TARDIS, which Rose did. So, spoilers. You have a question?
I must say, in honor of Mr. The, or as you all call him, the Master, Lark Sage is drinking English breakfast tea this evening.
As am I.
As a theme. Instead of cream soda,
Sick people tea.
she's giving it a shot.
Okay. That's fair. So,
It's not worrisome at all. It's fine.
so let me go ahead and catch y'all up. I'm going to go ahead and catch the audience up on what I was telling everybody. So this game today, our episode is called The Galaxy on Fire. I'm not kidding.
I don't like that.
Because we are going to be picking up a week after the events of last episode. where Narendra Station had been frozen in time for a year and a half. That time lapse is catapulting y'all into huge events in the Star Trek timeline right now. In the canon timeline, major things are happening. And I'll go ahead and start us off. So, though a week has passed since the conclusion of the battle at Narendra Station, Starbase 364 is no closer to feeling normalized. As if dealing with the extraordinary implications of losing an entire year and a half of their lives wasn't enough, the station's occupants are having to confront the aftermath of a bloody fight that began within their own ranks. Scores of lives were lost in a battle between the Duras loyalists and Narendra forces. The traitorous quartermaster Chakai was mercifully slain after succumbing to the consequences of trying to control technology that was meant to be his return to glory. The USS Dauntless sustained vicious damage, but a timely arrival of the Romulan warbird saved the Dauntless from what would have been a last stand. Narendra Station itself has suffered damage in the attack, but the Cavort classes were ultimately defeated. Debris from the battle can still be seen out the windows of Narendra Station, as can the haunting sight of a bird of prey's shattered hull drifting peacefully. It is a constant reminder of the chaos that ensued only a week ago. But not only a week ago, a year and a half ago. Emerging from the days of a temporal stasis triggered by the detonation of an isolytic warhead and the strange anomalies in the Shackleton Expanse, the people of Starbase 364 are reconnecting with family and trying to fill in the blanks of time that has been lost, coping with the terrible news that the Federation has plunged into war with the Dominion, and Cardassia has joined their cause. Rescued, quote-unquote, from the world that they left, now designated G2 by the crew of the Sally Ride, the senior staff of the Sally Ride have been reunited with strange stories to tell, but it's been hard to find the time. In the past 72 hours alone, there has been a whirlwind of activity on Narendra Station. When Narendra re-established contact with both Starfleet and the Empire, there's been a rush of information and orders, as well as personnel that have been preparing to depart the station. While new staff is being brought in, the USS Sally Ride has finished its overhaul and its repairs, and its crew are awaiting to be briefed by an incoming flag officer from Starfleet Command who will assess the situation at Narendra and deliver orders from Command personally. We start this episode about 10-15 minutes away from the arrival of the USS Kitty Hawk. Yeah, I thought that'd make you happy. The USS Kitty Hawk is an Excelsior-class refit starship. It is currently engaged in docking maneuvers at Narendra Station. And that is where we're going to begin, as you guys are all starting to gather in the docking area, along with other senior staff, including Captain UCAB and his senior staff. Everyone's gathering in the docking bay 3, where this Excelsior class is currently finishing its final maneuvers. You can go ahead and jump on in if you want. Thanks for being polite, I appreciate that. But, you know what I mean?
Captain on deck.
Captain on deck.
That was so serious.
Captain, we're supposed to stand up.
Yeah.
At ease, everyone. At ease.
No, I'm right.
All right, and that's where we're going to begin. So, just to give Martinez a quick recap. So, did you manage to catch up in the last episode? Because I can catch you up real quick.
Yeah, but I still want you to catch me up.
Okay. Well, Martinez is
good at it.
Martinez, you're literally coming out of stasis. A week ago, you came out of stasis on the bridge of the Sally Ride alone.
And then my sentence was like, isolytic warhead, we could...
With a pip that just drops out of the sky and collapses on the ground next to you. It doesn't seem to belong to you. Just clatters on the floor.
Q. Q.
Yeah.
All right, Martinez 2. Anyone? Senior staff?
Sir.
And then this was a week ago, is what it says.
Yeah. So
I'm assuming that I was brought up to speed.
Yes, basically. And a confusing sight for y'all as well who remained in the engineering bay. Coming out of the time freeze was quite the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
You have a
really
mustache
hot.
painted on you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did y'all really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. The master did.
Yeah. Painted a
I wouldn't
mustache
have
on
had it any
there.
other way.
So...
Somebody painted a mustache on you?
The master.
The master.
And you didn't kick their ass immediately?
They were gone.
They were
They were
frozen.
gone by the time I unfroze.
Okay. I imagine you were very mad then when you saw.
They probably didn't even know
Guys,
about it
Rue
for a
punched a
while.
hole in space to get revenge on someone in another dimension? It's super weird.
So
How many effects?
it was disorienting to say the least to have to figure out what the hell was going on. Not to mention, Martinez, by the time you came out of the freeze, is when the remainder of the Battle of Narendra Station resolved. So the combat with the Cavort class outside and the other 2 capital ships, as well as everything that was going on Narendra Station, it was about 6 hours before things finally had calmed out and the forces of Duras had been defeated. When things had finally managed to level off, eventually y'all received a distress call from a random uncharted planet. Of course, Martinez, you knew exactly what that planet was and where it was coming from. You managed to take the Sally Ride out with the skeleton crew to retrieve your senior staff and bring them back for debriefing. They gave you the quick, quiet rundown of what had happened. You also were able to encounter Ginny Plant Face on the planet. A huge catch-up, basically, where you were flooded with information confronting this creature that the Sally Ride nurtured into its current state, then leaving quickly so that the planet continues to remain hidden from prying eyes. On the return to Narendra Station, you'll have all had to reorient yourselves to what's happening. And that brings us up, for the past week, you guys have been trying to get the ground underneath you again. Catch up and learning that 1.5 years had passed and where the galaxy is at. You've heard some news trickling down the wire, but Starfleet has not been as forthcoming as it normally is. There's not a lot of communication being relayed through subspace right now towards Narendra Station. It wasn't long before you all heard that a flag officer was coming to address you and Admiral Hebert directly, as well as General Kargan. By now, by the way, our favorite Klingon Tolosh is up and walking around again. And it has also been discovered the debriefing as to what happened with Chakai and the Borg technology. It's all been verified and uncovered. The Romulan warbird vanished shortly after the battle, and no Klingon forces of the House of Duras made it off in Narendra Station, and there is no sign of any further Borg tech or isolytic weaponry. Essentially, believe it or not, y'all are in the clear. Finally. And the atmosphere on the station has been strange ever since, particularly between Kargan and Tolosh.
Yeah.
As Tolosh has had to learn that Kargan is not the man he thought he was.
That he was framed and that it wasn't.
His oath of vengeance should have been against Duras, but he's dead.
What is the what's the Klingon procedure when that happens? If you swear an oath of vengeance and someone's like, actually, and they show you a technicality, what happens?
Well, in all honesty, the oath of vengeance is to avenge the death of your father and to find out who is responsible. Yeah. And he found Kargan, only to discover that later it was actually Chakai.
Right.
Who set that whole thing in motion. Okay. I mean, Klingons have had to run into this problem many times when they deal with races who don't operate with honor. Mm-hmm. Particularly like Romulans who are just fighting to win. Victory is definitely the most honorable thing that you can get, according to Kalis, but Klingons, they're not inflexible when it comes to this kind of thing. There's a lot of Klingon philosophy that deals with these sort of contradictions, like Bushido does.
Yeah. Okay.
Does Kolar consider his honor satisfied?
Yeah.
You haven't really spoken to him about it. He's been kind of tight-lipped about this. He's been very quiet about the whole matter. However, he has not exhibited any signs of aggression towards Kargan. He mostly is coming off like a Klingon who's trying to reacquaint himself with his life. Mm-hmm. But he is looking healthy again. He does have to lean against things from time to time, but he tries to make sure that no one's watching. Of course, you spot it. And this brings us up to currently as the USS Kitty Hawk has finished its docking procedure. Starfleet personnel are on hand, along with an ensign who has the whistle to alert everybody that a flag officer is departing. Standing next to Admiral Hebert is General Kargan, flanked by Commander Tolosh, who has started to go by Kolar. Kargan is aware now of who Kolar really is. And so there's a strange, quiet standoffishness between the general and the commander. You guys are also flanking Admiral Hebert, being principal in what's been taking place. And as the airlock begins to open, you hear as everyone stands at attention. Thanks. I practiced it a long time when I was a kid because I watched Wrath of Khan so many times. So you see the airlock doors and a few unusual sight. Starfleet security steps out first. And they are operations officers who are wearing the old style torso tagged armor over the top of their bodies with weapons flanked at their side. An indication that the Federation is in a time of war right now. Stepping off the transport is a very old and very worn. He's almost unrecognizable from the looks on him. But you see Admiral Norwell Nash step off of the transport. Now, there's two things you would all notice about Nash as he steps off the transport.
Sam.
There's two things you notice about him. One, it's only been a year and a half, even though that feels like a week for you guys. But he looks like he's aged dramatically. His hair looks a little bit whiter. His skin looks a little more pale. He looks like he's got a few more wrinkles, a few more rings under his eyes. He looks tired. You also notice another pip on his bar, designating that he, since last you spoke to him, had been promoted to Vice Admiral. So as he steps off, he approaches Admiral Hebert. Everyone's standing at attention, and Admiral Hebert says, "Vice Admiral Nash," and you hear the old voice of Norwell Nash say, "Admiral Hebert, it's good to see you again, April." And they shake hands. "General Kargan." "Admiral." And he turns and looks at all of you. "Well, there's a lot to go over. Admiral, if you'll lead the way, we should deal with this now." "Yes, Admiral. This way." And everyone sort of files in, save General Kargan, who walks side by side with everybody. As everyone's falling in, Kolar steps next to you, Rue, and says, "You look like you want to hit someone."
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
"I offer my face as a candidate." And he says that with a grin as you all file out.
I grab him by the hand first.
Okay, he glances at you.
Give me the pip before the meeting. I can't be in the meeting with two.
He squints his eyes and says, "The pip? I'll have to go back to my quarters."
Yeah, I'll hit you in the face later. I go into the meeting with two pips.
Okay.
I know. I'm
So we'll cut to the Admiral's quarters. Everyone files in. Captain UCAB, his senior staff file in as well. Everybody sort of sits in. It's a very crowded room as everyone files in. And as people begin to take their seats, Kargan, of course, doesn't like to sit, so he just kind of stands there and folds his arms. Nash pauses and turns to UCAB and says, "Captain, I have a full debriefing for you later, but you and your crew can be dismissed. Go get some rest. And keep me updated on the Dauntless's repairs." "Yes, sir." Crew dismissed, and UCAB and the senior staff all file out. The door closes, and Nash takes a seat and just... "Well, let's get started. How are you holding together?" And Admiral Hebert says, "As well as can be expected. Admiral, we are, I'll say this. You gave us the appropriate resiliency when you assigned certain crews to this station. If it hadn't been for the crew of the USS Sally Ride, Narendra would have been lost, at least once. And you see Nash smile and nod. And he looks up at Kargan, and Kargan just says, "They played a role, yes." Well, I've been in constant communication with the General here about upcoming personnel changes. And, well, I'm here to fill you in on everything that's been happening and let you know what's going to happen now. So first off, Admiral, the General raises his hand and says, "I only have one piece of business here, if I may." By all means. And you see Kargan turn towards Kolar and says, "Kolar, son of Tovak, stand." Kolar gets up, and the two Klingons eye each other. And Kargan says, "Do you still wish me dead?" And Kolar stares at him and says, "I would not mourn your death, but no." "Good, because I am making you the captain of this station. You will be in charge of the Klingon forces. I am being ordered to the front line." Hands Kolar this data pad. And Kolar stares at it for a second. "Congratulations, Captain. You should also know that Klingon intelligence wishes to speak with you. Apparently they are impressed by how you managed to get close enough to me to try to kill me the way you did. Maybe they can find a use for you. Either way, my place is in battle, while you sit here and rot in administrative duties." Kolar smiles and says, "Well, that speaks to how oblivious you were of the station under your command if you think things around here are going to be quiet." And he sets the data pad down. And Kargan nods and says, "Kapla, Captain. And know this. Your father was a good man. I am honored to have been the one to send him to Stovokor." And Kolar nods and says, "Thank you, General." And just like that, the General looks at all of you one last time and just... And this heavy shuffling as General Kargan moves out of the room. The door closes. And Kolar takes a seat, and Admiral Hebert just says, "Congratulations, Captain." "Thank you, Admiral." "Well, now I don't have to worry about my desks or my tables being broken anymore." "I'm sorry, Admiral Nash, what were you saying?" "Well, there's a lot to catch you up on. As you've heard, the Federation is at war with the Dominion. We've lost DS9 to Dominion forces. The alliance between the Dominion and Cardassia took us by surprise. Our intelligence was not prepared for that. And we've suffered losses. And just for a beat, Mala, there's a deep emotional pain when he says this. His facial expressions don't really betray it, but you know instantly something has happened to him. A personal loss, probably. And the beat lasts just for one beat too long before...
I unintentionally, go to reach and then catch myself and bring it back.
He doesn't seem to notice, but Hebert does, and she kind of glances at you, and then Nash just continues. He says, "Most of the station's personnel is going to be pulled from Narendra Station. This place is going to be operating under a skeleton crew. Starfleet Command has decided that Narendra Station is absolutely low priority, but we can't simply abandon the station out here in the Shackleton Expanse. Most of the Klingon staff is pulling out as well. This place is going to start looking pretty quiet. Well, sounding quiet. It's going to be a ghost town around here. The Sally Ride is going to be ordered to stay. The truth is we only have 2 Federation starships in this sector of space, and one of them is a Galaxy class, and we need that one on the front line. We do not need another science vessel. So, the USS Sally Ride is hereby ordered to maintain its presence in the Shackleton Expanse. You may continue your exploratory and scientific mission. However, your priority is going to be War Patrol. Now, if you want to keep that and use that towards scientific endeavor, I encourage you to do so. But your first priority is keeping a lookout. We do not anticipate the Dominion is going to make it out this far. There's nothing out here for them. But they've been unpredictable in the past. And their fleet is large, to say the least. The Romulans have signed a non-aggression pact. I should note, Ensign Sage Bajor has also signed a non-aggression pact, which is a blessing, really. Bajor couldn't afford to get involved in the war, and DS9 was lost. So far as we know, Bajor still maintains its government, its autonomy. Well, while I know that you've never been to Bajor, Ensign, I know that it's still something all Bajorans are concerned about.
Thank you, Admiral.
I've brought personnel and equipment. The Sally Ride is to undergo a refit as much as we can. We're going to get her underway and prepared. She needs to be ready if you encounter any Dominion ships. I also have intelligence briefings on what you would be flying up against. The Dominion fleet is not like anything we've ever seen. The Jem'Hadar are the most ruthless, skilled, and deadly warriors the Federation has ever encountered. They are zealots. They care nothing for personal honor. They care only for victory. And they will do anything to get it, even if it means ramming their warships into ours to kill us. They fanatically believe in the divinity of the Founders, those who we know to be the Changelings. The voice of the Dominion are the Vorta, who we've had a few connections with. We do believe the Vorta might be operating close by, near the Shackleton Expanse. But unfortunately, Starfleet intelligence is stretched incredibly thin, considering our recent loss of the 7th Fleet. And again, he kind of hesitates. Now, if you guys command, you two, 7th Fleet, composed of 112 starships.
Wow.
And it's news. The 7th Fleet has been destroyed. Or it's been lost.
How many starships?
112.
112.
112.
There were survivors. 12 ships made it back. Of the 112. Or I believe it was 14. Double check that. I've got the horrible numbers right here.
It's okay.
May have been 114 ships.
14.
112 ships, only 14 returned. The battle took place the battle took place in the Tyra system. 7th Fleet was dispatched to stop Dominion force advance. They were completely overwhelmed. And there's been other reports too that are starting to come in. Before I go on, are there any questions?
Are we maintaining personnel aboard the Sally Ride, or are we having staffing changes?
No staffing changes. Crew is going to be cycled. We're going to try to get you more security on board the ship. So, Commander, you're going to have your hands full with that. But I'm sure you'll whip him into shape. You're not being given raw recruits either. If you're going to be the only Federation starship out here, I want to make sure you're capable. The Jem'Hadar fast attack ships are... well, we weren't ready for them. We spent most of our research and development preparing ourselves for the Borg. We were not prepared for the Dominion.
I'd appreciate any tactical intelligence you could offer so I can develop doctrine against the Intrepid class.
We'll give you everything we got.
Thank you, Admiral.
Oh, so much has changed. I can't imagine what it's like for you all.
Have they reached any other areas of space?
Yes. The demilitarized zone around Cardassia has been completely occupied now. The Maquis been wiped out. We've seen great advances into lots of allied territory, and now there's starting to be a rumor that other races are falling in with the Dominion. But we don't know the breadth and scope. You should be made aware that the alliance between the Klingons and the Federation has been reestablished. The Khitomer Accords are back into effect. Chancellor Galron began to realize he didn't stand a chance of winning. But I'm going to be very honest with you all. We are losing the war right now. We're losing it badly.
Admiral, when you say wiped out, do you mean disbanded?
The Maquis? No, I do not mean disbanded, Ensign.
Vice Admiral, what's Starfleet's plan?
Well, to be honest, Captain, they're even more tight-lipped than they normally are because of the changeling threat. But right now, our plan is to try to stop the Dominion advance. We're drawing lines in the sand and we keep getting pushed back. If it continues like this, if we don't score some kind of victory, I don't know what to tell you. I know it's probably going to drive you a little crazy being out here so far away from the front line, even though you're a science vessel, it's what you signed up for. But the best thing you can do is watch our backs in Shackleton Expanse and do what you were designed to do. And if Starfleet needs you, we will definitely call you home.
Then we'll come home.
Unless there's any further questions, I think I can do formal debriefs later. Is that amenable to you? And Hebert, who's sitting there listening to this, she just... Yes, Vice Admiral, that'll be fine. Thank you. Your quarters are prepared. Can I show you to them? Yes. And he stands up and says, "Dinner tonight. It'd be nice to catch up with all of you."
Certainly. Thank you, Vice Admiral.
Hebert says, "Feel free to stay in my office as long as you need." And she and Nash walk out as everyone stands up respectfully. Shh. And the door closes.
Just as a thing, a note for Mala, because I think you would be feeling this. Lark Sage is screaming inside.
Yeah. A lot of people are.
You don't say!
Yeah.
I'm much louder than usual.
I'm going to walk over to Kolar. I assume he's sitting down somewhere?
Kolar stood up when everyone left, and he's kind of still standing there just looking troubled at the floor as you approach.
I'm going to put out my hand.
And he takes your hand immediately.
Well done, Kolar.
And
Congratulations.
you, Captain, you and your crew as always.
Thank you.
This is not where I expected to find myself.
This isn't ideal, no.
But at least the Federation and the Klingon Empire are allies again.
As it should be. And you'll always have an ally in the crew of the Sally Ride.
Well, I would say you would always have a home at Narendra Station, but since half of it's yours anyway.
I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you.
Well, I suppose I should see to those administrative duties I was assigned to. He picks it up. First thing I need to do is find a new quartermaster. He nods to all of you and nods. He walks slowly out as he's looking to the data pad, and as the door closes, the senior staff of the Sally Ride is left alone in this office, looking out over the Shackleton Expanse. And again, Admiral Hebert's office does overlook, it is windowed to look out beyond into the Expanse, and you can still see the debris occasionally, like catching a glint of starlight, a debris from the Fort class that's still floating out there.
Chief?
Captain.
What were your impressions on the Vice Admiral?
Well, he's very tired.
Yeah, he looks like shit.
Yes. I think he may have known someone that,
Understood.
yeah.
Question to you, question to everybody here. Question to you, Commander. Why did he come all the way out here just to tell us that? Why didn't he just send us that information?
He's
Maybe it was-
probably evaluating us, everyone on this station, to see whether we're still usable if something weird is going on, because we've been time locked for 1.5 years, sir.
No matter how good technology gets, you still can't read people over the phone. I guess.
They'll make a
Also,
better film.
maybe he needed a break. It's a long way out here.
Yeah. But if I know the Vice Admiral like I think I do, he's gonna want to be where the action is, so.
He must have been on his way to this area before we unfroze. Obviously.
What for?
It is a 6-month trip, is it not?
Yeah, it is. Why was he heading out here?
Perhaps there is some intelligence value in having a Romulan warbird frozen in time right in front of you.
It's a good
It's
point.
a unique chance to study its technology.
Very good point.
Is it 6 months or was it 1 month?
I remember 3.
Was it 3?
Maybe I'm
trip?
thinking round
3
trip.
months?
Was
Timey white. No, I know round trip. It was supposed to be 6 months.
then
That's-
3 months
was
But
our
out.
that's still
Same.
6 months out of his schedule
Yes.
that he's like,
Yeah.
coming.
Retconning, that's what Talon said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year is it?
I believe it's 2375 at this point. We should be in the beginning of DS9 Season 6.
75.
They didn't tell. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was just checking.
We'll see when I get that
Yeah, yeah,
information,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then we'll talk.
Thank you.
Stuff happened in 2374, kids.
Yes, it did.
Leading questions about what
Yes, it
parts of
did.
space are involved might have.
I saw that. I have
Are
tactical
you
information.
asking-
We're not gonna. If we're gonna discover it, I'm not saying a dang thing until it's in character.
I have tactical information. We're good. We got it.
With
Okay.
all due respect, Captain, with the changeling risk, he might have just wanted to proceed in person.
I guess I'm gonna need whatever we've learned about changelings.
Yeah.
I've already been gathering some information. There is some sort of, I probably know this by now, there is a very rudimentary test that can be given, but it is quite invasive physically to determine whether or not someone is a changeling.
What's the test?
It is a blood test, essentially.
Makes sense.
If there is a need for it, we can use this test.
Sure.
Since we have been frozen in battle for this past 1.5 years.
I can imagine that might come off a bit suspicious
Yes.
to some. Yeah, good thinking, Lieutenant Commander. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions before we can leave this office?
Sir,
if our formal mission objective is patrol and we're doing science along the way, it might be a good idea to assemble a priority list of scientific endeavors to be done in this region. I can think of a few that might be personally relevant to this crew, though I don't think we've discussed it too much.
Well, we probably should discuss that. Why don't we head back to the ship and, let's see, how many hours is it before dinner, would you say?
Not enough.
Is it like an hour?
It's going to be in the evening, so it's kind of like early. I would say it's mid-morning right now on station time.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So on top of, I'm sure we have a very busy day, just running things on the ship, I would like for us to have a senior staff meeting in our conference room.
It's been a while.
It's been a year. It's a little overdue. It's time for another meeting. So if that's it, if that's everything, then I guess I'll see everyone back on the ship.
Yes, sir.
Reruns like a bat out of hell.
Commander, just 1 second. If everybody else is leaving, I'll catch Commander Rue either in the room, in the hall, it doesn't matter, but I'll just say, Commander, I could not care less. I really couldn't, but you gotta get your pips together. Okay. And then just leave.
That's got to be a hashtag. Get your pips together.
Get your pips together. That's the walk of shame of Narendra Station.
Yeah.
Get your pips together.
I'm gonna punch things so hard today.
So unless there's anything y'all want to do, we can cut to the dinner scene.
Can I ask a quick background question?
Go ahead.
Because I know, I've read Rue's medical files because I've read everybody's medical files.
Yeah.
Would you say, as the GM, how much indication is there? Like, 1 million people have commented and signed off, but what would I know from the paper trail? Do I have any reason to, do I know if anybody held them up in approval, or does it all, what would I documentarily...
About Nash?
Yeah, about Nash. I don't really, because in character I don't have much of a direct relationship, but, is it clear from looking at your file, that's weird, it took forever for you to get assigned back,
that would be completely accessible to you in medical records, absolutely. Because it would be a notation on Rue's record that Admiral Nash on multiple occasions tried to prevent them from taking the commander's chair.
Good question.
On Sally Ride.
What you would see from the medical files is that I was not in consistent outpatient rehab as long as you would expect for the time that I was on the ground, although it's also common knowledge that I was an instructor at the academy at the time. You could also see me white knuckle in that meeting.
Yeah.
It would also be noted that medically speaking and all of the physical tests, if you did not look at the bio where it stated there was a disability, you wouldn't know. You would have no clue, because every single test has been passed with flying colors all the way down, and at the bottom is a notation from Admiral Nash saying, does not recommend for command.
Right, okay.
Now I want to break a pencil.
Yeah. I would like to, as we're leaving the meeting, I walk beside Ensign Sage, and I say,
I think it is the same thing, actually, but that's good too.
I think it is time for us to do the tests.
I would like that very much.
Are you emotionally prepared for this? There may be some repercussions for you emotionally if we find out we are in fact related in some way.
Lieutenant Commander, I just think it needs to be done. We need to know either way, so might as well do it sooner rather than later.
I think this will be very informative for both of us. It seems that we both have family mysteries that we have not solved up until this point in our lives. This will be very informative.
Informative is good.
Halloran is just very awkwardly standing behind you two, trying not to eavesdrop, but also it's quiet now and it's weird. Commander Ensign, I never got to thank you for what you all did for me. I heard a little bit of what you were saying, and if you need some emotional assistance, I am at your disposal should you need it.
Yes, that may be helpful to Ensign Sage.
Still screaming inside.
I step a little closer and grab your hand.
Let's do it.
Doctor, would you please assist us with our tests? The ones I told you about last week.
Absolutely.
Do you have time now?
Yes. Yes, I do. Answers help everyone.
Okay, we're doing this. Let's do the thing. Okay. Let's do the science.
Do the science. Give some time to read tactics.
Okay, so
Spawn tactics.
So real quick, before I start putting the scenes together, where is everyone going? You four are going to the medical bay and on the Sally Ride, yeah?
Back to the ship just to do stuff.
Okay.
In the mid to early afternoon. We'll reconvene at some point in the conference room, all of us, senior staff, because we have to talk about a shared dream experience, and then we will go to dinner with Vice Admiral Lynch.
We've never mentioned that. And not for like a year and a half.
Not for us.
You're gonna study tactics
I'm
and catch up on.
going to spar with Kolar with the tactical reports on audio while we do it.
You will be careful.
Nice.
I
like that.
assume.
I like that.
Get your pip. You have lovely assumptions.
It is a sobering sparring match, as all the tactical information that you have clearance for and Kolar has clearance for start coming in. And you do hear a few things that cause you both to stop in mid-swing and stare at each other when you hear it. Martinez, as you're walking back to the Sally Ride, a bunch of ensigns and everybody, sir, as you're walking past, you glance over as you're approaching the docking ring, and sitting at the table in the main area, the bar, which has been cleaned up, swept up, and repaired, you see Tanya Moore having a conversation with with Captain Montgomery Scott. Yes! And she is leaning forward like this, and he is going on and on. And there's drinks between them, and he is like in the middle of a very big story, and she's just like listening to him, just kind of like in shocked disbelief.
Well, this is an opportunity I'm not going to miss. I'm going to walk over there.
That'd be great if Hector is like, cool, I go back to the Sally Ride.
I got stuff to do.
No, it's cool. Okay, so you approach, they're the only ones here. Most of the station staff, it is already starting to look like a ghost town. There is another Klingon, there's a Klingon battle cruiser that's showing up right now. It's coming out of warp on the edge of the system. You can actually see it coming into dock. You hear Klingon speech on the intercom as like personnel are getting ready to leave the station. So it's a lot of activity. No one in the bar. There's one bartender, and as you're approaching, they both see you, and Tanya just glances, "Oh, Raphael."
Tanya, hi.
It's so good to see you.
It's fantastic to see you. Just above game. Has it been a year and a half for her since I've seen
everyone?
her?
No. Everyone was frozen. She was frozen too.
So it's been a week.
But
It's been a week.
I was trying to acclimate myself. I'm still trying to get over everything. How are you holding up?
Same. Maybe better. Maybe worse.
But you have not introduced me. And Scotty stands up. We've met, haven't we?
Yes, we have. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, sir, but I just wanted to come over and say hello and maybe get another chance to meet you.
Would you like to sit down and have a drink?
Yes, I would love that. Yes, I would.
Sit down.
I've got
the audience is just going to have to be okay with my pathetic Scotty impersonation.
It's perfect.
It's wonderful.
So Scotty slips down and he pulls a chair out and starts pouring you a glass immediately.
And also above game, is Montgomery Scott, at this point, is he a captain?
He's still Captain Montgomery Scott.
He's Captain Montgomery Scott.
Captain
Okay.
Montgomery Scott. This is in the timeline. This is the Montgomery Scott that we last saw in TNG.
Yes.
Who
Has not yet discovered the
episode.
equation for transwarp beaming, but that's years away.
No, that's
I
happened.
believe. No, I don't think it has, because it happened some point after the end of.
Does it happen later in his career? I thought it happened earlier.
It happens. Apparently, it happens at some point after '90s Star Trek ended, but before.
I did not know that.
Romulan planet explode.
I always assumed that he did that, but that would make sense because he never actually did it in show. So okay.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah. So
okay.
Spoilers from the 90s.
Spoilers.
So this probably be before then.
Yes, Captain. Thank you so much. This is good. What is this? This looks
It's
good.
brandy. The replicators don't do it justice, but you take what you get out here on the edges of space.
I couldn't help but notice, but it seemed like you were regaling Tanya here with a fantastic story right before I walked up. If you would please continue. I really did not mean to interrupt.
She's like, I cannot believe I never heard about this. And he's like, neither can I. Saved the whole planet. So we put the whales back in San Francisco. Yes. They sang their songs. It went away. Saved the day. Stopped all the crazy weather patterns. Which is good, because that was the year that I decided that when I was going to retire, that's when I decided I was going to buy my boat.
Captain Scott, if I can, I've always been curious about this particular episode of your career. If I can ask, after you returned, you and the crew...
George and Gracie.
Yes, right, the whales. But after you all came back to the present, did you notice anything differently after you interacted with people in the 1980s on Earth? Was there anything that was maybe different about the time before you left versus the time after? I've just always been curious about that. I mean, everything that they teach us in the academy about time travel
I
and
see.
its repercussions.
You're wondering if I came back to the future that I left.
Yes. Could you
Don't
tell?
know.
Oh, great. Well, in any case, I'm glad you did come back to this future.
Well, thank you, lad. And thanks for reading up on my career. I'm sure there's much more entertaining things to read out there, though.
There really isn't.
Tanya goes, I'm going to agree with Martinez on this one.
Yes.
And Scotty just kind of gives that smile and he says, well, thank you. It's nice to have an ear. But to ask questions about the timeline, you'd have to ask a Vulcan.
Okay.
Are you a captain then?
Yes, I am. Yes.
You don't say. What kind of ship do you fly?
A
A
ship,
fast ship.
a very fast ship, sir. Yes, a ship built for science.
Oh, science.
Yeah. If you ever have some time, it would be my honor to give you a tour of the USS Sally Ride.
You show me your engine room.
First thing.
What
yes.
are we waiting for? He stands up. He finishes his glasses like, I'll see it right now if that's all right.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. Yes. I'll just have to inform my engineering crew, but I'm sure that they would be more than happy to give you that tour. So.
Tanya stands and says, actually, I've actually never seen your ship.
Oh.
Captain.
I apologize, Tanya. That's a mistake. I've been a little bit busy, but we'll go ahead and rectify that right now. So let's both of you guys go ahead and follow me then.
I'm laughing because I can hear chat saying, Tanya's the changeling. Tanya's the changeling. She's going to kill us all. You know someone in chat is screaming that right now.
Now I don't.
I know, but
see her blood.
look, I'll deal with it and kill him when I have to kill her.
It's amazing how paranoid the audience has gotten. No, I love you guys. I love you guys to death. Ox Crew, y'all are great. Crack me up. Okay. So the change, Tanya, you guys go back to, I'm sorry, no. So you guys, the death look from Amy. It's coming from this side of the table for once. So, So you move back into the cargo area, and you lead Montgomery Scott onto your ship. I can only imagine what this must be like for Martinez, but he steps into the engineering section as you guys head towards the most advanced warp core currently enacted in Starfleet. While that's happening, Rue, you and Kolar, he takes a seat next to you on this soot-covered rock, the base of this volcano on the Klingon homeworld, and the heat is just it's soaked you through your uniform at this point. And Kolar is just sitting next to you and just says, "Are you going to tell your friend, your chief engineer?"
I'll have to.
Shocking that the Admiral left that out.
They launched it from the Calandra sector. Trillius Prime's in the Calandra sector.
Is there any way you can find out how Trillius Prime is doing now?
I can put a request. Maybe they give intelligence for those of us this far out, but it seems like they're being stingy. All the way back here.
Well, something that's occurred to me, Commander, is that over a year and a half, more things may have slipped through the cracks than even Starfleet knows. They didn't know our situation out here. Before everything that happened, there was whispers of the Orion Crime Syndicate trying to set up operations out here. Words of the Romulans trying to make incursions, and then there's that homeworld that you discovered. What's become of all of these things over the past year and a half? That's what I want to know.
Oh. I'm glad you're finding points of interest out here. Good.
I have to focus on the Shackleton expense now. Kargan wasn't wrong. This promotion is going to eventually feel like a curse. My people are fighting on the front lines and dying, and I cannot be with them.
No.
It's not... I am a warrior. Instead, I was deprived of killing the man who dishonored my family, nearly assimilated by the Borg, and now promoted to a shack in the Shackleton Expanse.
I hit my crutch against a nearby piece of wood and just put a dent into it.
Okay. It's what's left of a training dummy that you guys are warming up on, and it shatters underneath the impact of this titanium-styled laced crutch. Just and Kolar stands and says, I don't know what comes next, but you should speak to your friend. And I should get over feeling sorry for myself.
I'm glad we're both out here together. Though I'd rather we both be at the front.
Suppose it does have its perk.
Yes, we can get that hand-to-hand combat up to snuff.
You see this, there's not the usual fire, but he nods. Let me know how dinner goes with your admiral. I'd be interested to hear what he has to impart upon you. It can't be a coincidence that he flew all the way out here by himself. I think your instincts that you were speaking to me earlier about are correct. I think he came to evaluate. Or maybe your Starfleet command is trying to sweep him under the rug.
I'm going to grapple him and grab the pip out of his front breast pocket before I leave.
Okay. He accepts the grapple, and as you pull him close, you hear him kind of wincing as the pain hits, which of course makes him grin, and you pull the pip out, and he looks at it, and as you take it, he says, I'll be back for it later.
See you tonight. I kiss him and leave.
Okay. You step out, and he reaches down and picks up a towel and starts wiping his face off as you leave. We're going to cut to the medical bay now on the Sally Ride. As you all walk in, you walk into sick bay, and the lights immediately activate as you all walk in to see Matazi sitting across the room in this position.
Yes?
And he looks up, and you also feel a very familiar sense of pain coming from Matazi. And he looks up and says, Doctor, I didn't know you would be on duty. Forgive me, I was just going over research about chronotons. It's important to know what they do to physiology after spending a year in stasis. I'm happy to report that they do nothing. And he says, excuse me. And the large Cation walks past all of you, kind of shoulders by, and steps out of the sick bay.
Lying is not among his many skills.
And you have the sick bay now.
Sometimes we need privacy to grieve. Well, what do we do?
I imagine that you will need to take some type of readings from us.
Of course.
Now, this is going to be a medicine check, and the difficulty here is going to be 0. You're going to have to burn momentum to ask the questions that you need to ask. So this is essentially a research deep dive, and the Sally Ride will assist. So...
I think we have momentum from last game, right? No, we didn't.
Write it down.
Oh, no.
Nope, you started 0.
We were all here. Okay.
So
That's
you'll
good.
be able to use this, but the difficulty here is 0. It is going to be a... Do you like my singing voice? Thank you.
No, it's really bad.
No.
Don't say like
I'm just a better friend than any of us.
So this is going to be yes, of course, a reasoned medicine check. Yeah, and the Sally Ride will be using computers and... let me make sure that's correct. Sally Ride, of course, will be using computers and medicine as well. Difficulty is 0.
I am holding your hands.
Yeah. I white knuckled.
Talon just casually looks over at Sage and then does a double take because she looks so worried. There's so much worry in her face.
You can see that Mala's sweating a little bit from the residual stress.
Yeah, it's been a lot, I can imagine, for Mala.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting used to it. This is a lot better than I felt a while ago, so... Whew.
Okay, so Throlo, go ahead and make a roll.
I'm trying to decide. All right.
Difficulty is 0. Let's see what you get.
Three successes.
All right.
Yay!
So get 3 momentum.
And Sally,
I didn't get to spend for cautious. It's very nerve-wracking.
I feel and you. Sally assists, right?
She does.
Yeah.
He does assist,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't
That's
realize.
okay. So it's computers medicine.
Like, 1 success for me as well.
All right. Dun-dun-dun. All right, so take the blood samples. You begin to sequence the DNA. You see common. You see the common Bajoran genetic. It's much more distant in Talon, but it is it's only like maybe 1 or 2 generations removed. But it is present. Probably just enough Vulcan DNA with the overlap. It's why Talon. It actually accounts for Talon's ears being slightly less pointy than the typical Vulcan.
It's true.
And also accounts for Talon not having the very signature species, the bridge that the Bajorans are known for having. So you're seeing a lot of similar markers in that regard. Doesn't seem to be anything immediately that relates the two of them.
Here's a good look at both of you. Thank you for letting me be part of this. I can clearly see common markers for your Bajoran heritage. What would I be looking for?
They're trying to find out if they have any distant relation.
Right. But like I know I can look for like mother's mitochondrial DNA, but like I don't know.
That's a good specification if you want to do something like that, or if you want to just dig deep, spend a point of momentum to do like an ask for information. Okay. But using that kind of creativity and throwing out Star Trek speak, you can just say, "Can I find any ancestral DNA?" So burning that point of momentum, you see Throlo's hands moving around the Elcars.
Can we also rule that I checked with you both on whether it was okay for me to be showing all of this and everybody up?
Get our HIPAA.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Sliding your hands across the screen, much like like a touch screen, you're kind of moving the DNA genetics around so you can get better looks at them. And the computer is triangulating and like detecting little singularities or singularities, but like markers basically, like little single markers in each piece of the DNA.
Red hair. Sorry.
But you begin.
Red hair.
Oh.
You begin to trace. You're actually able to divide up the parent lineages. Lark's age is full-blooded Bajoran. The parentage you're beginning to divide up, you're actually able to separate the lineages of Bajoran and Vulcan. Knowing that...
So with luck, it splits it in half, and obviously half is missing from each side, but roughly as I'm going through, I'm gonna be like, there's your dad and there's your mom.
Squeeze tighter.
Eliza feels that.
So curiously enough, as you begin to dig deeper, you go back 3, 4, 5, 6 generations back, and Talon, you see your DNA once again crosses with Bajoran DNA.
Doctor, perhaps I'm not as familiar with genealogy as you are, but that looks like 2 occurrences of Bajoran heritage in my lineage. Is that correct?
I think you're right. What?
That cannot be the case.
You have information I don't have. What am I looking at?
I only know of one Bajoran ancestor, which is my grandfather.
This would be him.
Yes.
I assume I can point at that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is about 6 generations from your grandfathers.
Oof.
So this is a while ago.
8 generations back from 8 generations back from me.
So Talon, go ahead and make
a long time ago.
Go ahead and make a reason science roll.
Crap.
Difficulty is 1.
I kind of want to do this because I really want to know what this is.
Sure, go ahead.
All you.
Do it. Yeah. Right. 6 back from the grandfather.
Ooh, 4. Right on the edge. One of them was right on the edge.
You got a reroll?
No, I mean, I do get a... No. Huh?
No, I just got excited. Sorry.
One is a 17. That's what I meant.
It was right.
Yeah.
4 successes?
4 successes. And we get
Talon,
something back.
now I'm going to give this to you then, with a successful roll.
2 back?
Not only is that curious, but it immediately clicks that Vulcans had never had contact with Bajor that far back. Bajor is a relatively new world in this grand scope of galactic politics and discovery.
Yeah, what the heck?
Bajor has only been on the galactic map for 60 years or so. It's relatively new. Yeah.
Sam brought up a good question. When were they doing the solar sails thing?
Yeah.
That was ancient.
Right, I was like, that. Yeah, okay.
Ancient
century.
Just to get it out of the way, it's not that.
Yeah.
But that's cool. But that would be cool. But
But
it is,
they will
'cause
have
I'm like-
invented them
'cause
by
that's-
then, because that was
that's not-
16th century.
Because that's not 8 generations. Right?
It's a while back.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
How long is a Vulcan generation? What's the average age?
long.
Good point.
it's very.
it's very
Oh my
long.
gosh.
Vulcans live a
Oh my
long
gosh,
time.
it's a light ship.
Like 120, right? Like
Speculating
Yeah.
wildly.
120 is like the age usually they
Settle
die.
down.
Right.
Some of them live quite a bit longer. Sarek lived a long time. But yes, Vulcans live well past 100. Some of them live up. I think Vulcans. See, so humans in the Star Trek universe, they're the ones whose lifespans have actually expanded to about 140 to 150 years old.
Oh, so Vulcans are way past
Much
that.
longer than that. Yeah. Vulcans. I hate to do this. Vulcans are the elves of Star Trek. The D&D elves. They live to like 200 to 300 years of age.
Yeah.
They're quite old.
Oh,
So
Spock was half human. That's right. I always go by Spock as but he was half human. So
he had a lot of longevity. But yeah. So.
The second occurrence, which is the first occurrence, is it back in the same branch with the grandfather or a different branch?
I want to know.
It's actually a different branch.
What? Cool.
Different branch of DNA. And as your Vulcan mind begins to do the calculations of when that would happen, yes, the Bajorans did have interstellar technology back then. The ancient Bajorans could sail the stars
Visited.
back then.
That is so dope.
Of course, logically, you don't know how it's possible that they would have ever made it to Vulcan or vice versa. But stranger things have happened. The sheer distance between Vulcan and Bajor is, it would take thousands of lifetimes.
Yeah. But if Vulcans were out exploring somewhere,
There's a lot. It is not a stretch of the imagination to think that Vulcans who had interstellar flight and Bajorans who had interstellar flight may have crossed paths. And you keep digging further and further back as this revelation hits. And through that DNA code, you're able to break off that DNA chain and continue going back generation and generation and generation. The DNA starts to get a little bit harder to track at this point as the coding kind of it's a lot of the data is being lost as you're scaling back. But I mean, the Sally Ride's medical facilities, as you're going back and back and back, and you all watch as the DNA chains just keep going like a road map all the way back to ancient times, where you see suddenly the DNA chain goes ding. And it connects.
is that what I think it is?
Looks like it. The scientific term for this is cousins.
You are genetically related. Beyond just the species relation, you both share a common ancient ancestor from the days of ancient Bajor. In history speak, this would be the equivalent of, if this was like, to use Earth as an example, this would be pre-Egyptian dynasty. This is ancient Bajor, where civilization was just really beginning. In fact, this would have been back during the days where the scrolls of the prophets were first written, is how ancient this is.
Maybe they were written by a Vulcan.
Talon's a little verklempt.
Work fits.
I catch her.
Nope. Everyone just kind of goes in as Lark just goes.
You take me with you because I'm holding you. Whoops, Ducker.
We catch her.
She definitely. Yep, that was a little much.
Lark, when your consciousness begins to come back and you in that horrible sensation of fainting begins to subside.
Yeah, that feels weird.
You find all of your crew members and closest companions looking down at you concerned, and you see the face of Talon. And I'll let Talon tell you what's on her face, but
Very concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay.
Do you need some water?
No, this is very overwhelming. You're the first family I've ever met.
You're the first non-Vulcan family member I have ever met.
That's logical. I'm just gonna have to she's not processing. Like you're feeling. Oh,
This is very surprising news.
I might just need a minute to process it all, but I'm happy about it.
I imagine we have the rest of our lives to process this news.
You both were, in a sense, our guides during whatever it is that was happening
Yes.
the other day.
And a doctor, I'm not sure if you are aware, but both Ensign Sage and I have experienced visions of the same person. We believe to be the same person.
Visual hallucinations?
Bajoran Vedek.
I wonder if that is him. Perhaps it is our common ancestor that we both saw.
Whoa.
Doctors.
Would you say he had any distinctive physiological changes that we could try to track through the... sorry, what?
No, yes. Yes, what you were saying. I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm not thinking anything right now.
I have a very, very partial profile. It's not much to go on, but it's enough to recognize in... we could run some simulations to try to project in the missing pieces of the genes. Do you have any other access to databanks of sample DNA that we could...
Perhaps. Yes, I can search the Starfleet scientific databases.
Are there any records of contact from Vulcan history that would match this? I'm sorry to say I'm a bit out of my depth there. I didn't realize contact existed at that time.
As am I. I did not either, but there are some both oral historical... there is some oral history and some recorded history of ancient interstellar travel through solar sails by Bajorans. It is possible that Vulcans and Bajorans met somewhere out in the cosmos, and perhaps that is where our shared ancestor came from.
I immediately reach down to my ankle and take off the Bajoran earring that I wear around my ankle. And so it probably doesn't have any trace of anything besides me, but just in case, if you could run a few tests on this.
Oh.
He gave it to me.
He?
Who's he?
The Vedic.
The man. And I have something in my quarters that was passed down to me as the last remaining artifact from my Bajoran grandfather. Perhaps that could help?
It would be my honor. I don't know exactly what this is.
It's a Bajoran earring.
I know.
Oh, it's an earring. Part of
beautiful.
One. Thank you. I never really got my ears pierced, so I couldn't actually wear it. My parents wouldn't allow me. But did get my ears pierced. They actually don't really know about this. But it's the only thing I have of my actual parents.
I will happily see what I can learn from it. We can probably, if we're very careful, we can attempt to date it. We can see if there's any residual impressions. I'm limited to physical and medical tools. I don't know if you can get anything off of an object.
Perhaps.
I don't think I don't get that kind of stuff. Just feelings.
Do you feel
I can
anything? No, I'm just
I
kidding.
can try, but inanimate objects don't tend to emote.
That's fair.
It's true. That is true, yeah.
Science.
Just checking for psychokinesis, you know.
Unless it's a rock that's been removed forcefully from an ancient planet that's filled with the memories of its species, but otherwise.
Yeah, you're right.
And you met the man that you've both seen?
I mean, now I don't know if we actually met or not. The fact that he keeps appearing in visions makes me question of ever physically meeting him ever.
It felt very real. It felt like he was there with us. But if this is this person, this ancestor, then perhaps he was able to meet us in our minds and manifest himself there.
It doesn't explain how he was able to physically give me that, though. Unless he's extremely powerful. He did kind of, disappear into the crowd after the fact. I couldn't find him again. I searched the rest of the day. It's all I have, so if there's anything on there, it'd be great to know.
Absolutely. These are very real areas of experience that are visions are a bit outside my med school experience, but anything I can find out, it's obviously real.
I put my hand on Sage's shoulder. Cousin Lark Sage.
I like that a lot.
Talon actually smiles. It's a tiny smile, but she smiles. You're feeling a lot of joy. I know. It's like this, but you're feeling this.
Is it Data smile?
Yeah.
Mala has a huge smile on her face that she is awkwardly hiding from you all.
Vulcan hidden joys a lot.
So yeah, what do you
I'm touching this like it is a butterfly who might stop breathing if I move my hand wrong.
Okay.
Like,
Were you planning to scan that? I wasn't sure what you were.
yes, I don't know how much time we have, but yeah. Like,
Go ahead. Make a roll. I would say this is going to be a science. This would be a reason science or reason medicine.
Can I assist on this?
Yes.
Since it's please.
I'm not.
Archaeology.
I'm useless.
Difficulty
I'm
is
still holding on to
3.
Mala.
Oh, archaeology.
Hold the hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Should I? Well, no, it's okay. We're maybe.
Sally doesn't help.
reason science.
Sally, no help.
It's too old.
I don't.
Sally's niece.
Is a genetics focus going to help with this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So 4 successes.
Oh, that's good because
You didn't do the science?
I got a 20.
Complication.
It's complicated.
Complication. All right.
Complicated.
I'm gonna add to my threat pool.
Too much emotion.
To remove
Too much emotion for Talon to do the science.
Yeah, you can
Or we
remove.
can allow complications to be awful.
How many do we
which
spend?
I kind of like. I think it's 2 to remove a complication.
We have 3.
No, we have 2.
I just got one. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No, yeah. You did get 4 successes though.
All right. Okay.
What was the difficulty?
Difficulty is 3.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
so we get 1 back.
So, scanning it, Tholo, there's something unusual about this. The minerals, they're all from Bejor. Judging from the make, it's probably maybe 20 or 30 years old. It doesn't really... It doesn't seem to have any trace. It does have a few like trace DNA elements on it that don't belong to Lark. But what really stands out is the detection of a hidden compartment inside the ear ring that shows that there is a small chip that has been hidden. It's been stashed on the inside of the lobal compartment area.
Oh, that's so...
What? And it looks easy enough to activate. It looks literally like somebody hid a little message chip in there.
How is it designed to be accessed? Do you press it?
You can literally just flip it on with a tricorder.
You what?
You can literally just activate it using a tricorder. It's like a real basic isolinear chip.
Ensign Sage, take a look at this.
I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I never noticed it. Go to security bay.
It's 5:30.
I can't take it. My emotions.
What a beautiful cliffhanger!
No cliffs.
That's just how it timed out. So we're gonna take a quick 10-minute break, and then we come back. We're gonna resuscitate Bonnie. And so we'll see you guys back here in about 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to Shield of Tomorrow. We are back from our break.
Where's my puppy tark?
We're going to.
Where's your puppy?
Where is the puppy tark?
Oh,
it's on the behind the shield side.
I'm going straight to the airport, so I didn't bring mine with me today. Oh no.
Oh no.
You'll have to come on behind the shield tonight and then snuggle your puppy tar.
Okay.
So Lisa's gonna jump back in with us, but so let's. She was like, just start without me. And I'm like, but we can't because we're in the middle of that scene. So we will hesitate for a moment here. What we can do, actually, is, Martinez, you are currently you are finishing a...
They're in the engine room.
Yeah, you are...
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry, Mama. I really need you right now.
I know, you do. I've come to terms with it.
That's friendship.
Before coming onto the ship, I will hit. Do you need something? What do we get?
I got
There's a chip.
Don't worry.
Oh, this thing? Here it is.
Oh, I know.
Can't miss the chip.
Don't worry. Thank you, Captain.
It's not a Dorito.
I will let everybody know, Martinez to engineering crew of the Sally Ride.
You get that chirping sound, Mala.
Martinez engineering crew
Yeah?
of the Sally Ride. Hey, I am bringing aboard a guest that I think that the crew would enjoy meeting, and we're going to give him a little tour if you are free. It would be Captain Montgomery Scott of the
That's what I
USS Enterprise and USS Enterprise A, both under the command of Captain James D. Kirk.
Sorry, say that again?
Montgomery Scott, Captain Montgomery Scott, has just said that he would like to take a tour of the ship.
Montgomery Scott?
Yeah, we're a few minutes away, so we're heading there. Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Scott. We'll be right there.
Oh, it's no problem. You hear that on the...
Go!
And I'm on the floor. Faded.
Mala Ren's like, I have to leave. Bye. I'm sorry.
Show him everything.
I'm sorry, Captain Scott.
Report back.
Chief?
No,
No, if you're indisposed, that's fine. I'm sure that the Jib would be. I'm just letting the engineering crew know. It's not a big deal. And I'm sure that if you weren't already aware of this, Captain Scott, you're of course welcome aboard the Sally Ride at any time. So, but let's go get this this tour underway. But thank you, Chief.
Captain.
Martinez out. Oh yes, Lieutenant Commander.
Captain.
Mala Ren will be right there.
Okay, like I said, not a big deal, but sure. Great, Martinez out.
But
You should go.
emotional assistance, it's okay. He's around. We're around.
And it's all right. I can be emotional assistance. I'm very good at being a lending ear and a comfort to people.
And then they're like,
We can fast forward to after the fact, and then you can go. We did it to where it was right when I fainted.
How about, we were, it was during the fainting, so I was like, got a kind of busy, Captain.
Stand by till lunch here.
Okay, well,
It's logical. You should leave now.
I got her. It's fine.
I'm not that heavy.
I snorted.
Friend, thank you for being here. I can stay if you want.
It's okay. That's really exciting. He's a legend.
This is a very exciting opportunity for you.
I can come by and tell you.
This is a very exciting opportunity for you.
We will tell you about it later.
I'll come by and tell you all about it once we figure out what's on here.
May I hug you?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm really, really happy for you.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll tell you what he's like. What he smells like. Bye.
Smells like scotch.
And Mala Rin
Bourbon.
vanishes.
That's sign.
Like a ninja,
That never
just-
happened.
So Mala tears out of the sickbay.
Okay. That is a chip. Could it be some kind of, like, what do you think, like a communication chip, or like a message, or like blueprints to a ship, or
Do you want to find out?
like records, or okay,
Just hit that.
okay. So don't hit it.
Anytime.
Okay. Hit it. The tricorder.
There's some static. And then you hear a woman's voice.
Oh my god.
And it says, "Your name is Razka Anel, and I love you." And it loops. "Your name is Razka Anel, and I love you." Over and over. "Your name is Razka Anel, and I love you."
And then I turn it off. And I just grab it. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you for letting us be here. Ensign Sage.
It's Raska. Raska.
R-A-Z-K-A.
Wait. R-A-Z.
K-A.
K-A.
Razka. And then your first name is Anel. A-N-E-L-L.
A-N. What was it?
E-L-L.
A-N-E-L-L.
Anel.
Razka, R-A-Z.
And Sage,
Ensign Raska.
this clicks with you because if you remember,
And I remember.
I remember you heard someone call a
Anel.
name on the bridge. You heard a woman's voice say Anel.
Right. That's right. Oh, snap. Oh, snap.
You're good, you.
I hate you, Eric Campbell. I hate you.
But it clicks. It's familiar. The moment you hear the name, you know it's you.
Okay. This is a lot to take in. Maybe I'll just go to my quarters for a little bit and process this. But thank you both for being here and for helping me discover this, and for being my family. I'll see you all at the meeting, and I'm just gonna take off to my quarters.
And similar to Mala, with less excitement, Lark Sage exits the sickbay quickly.
I'm going straight to my quarters, and I'm searching my name and anything I can find on anything.
Okay.
And playing it over and over and over.
Okay.
Oh yeah, did you get all you needed from it though? Before I take it back? But were there enough scans? Like, does she have what she needs? Like,
She scanned as what she can get off of it.
okay, cool. Thanks. Bye.
She's got the data. If you guys want to burn momentum, you can ask questions about what the data. You know what I mean? Just
Okay,
like-
yeah. Let me know what you
I can
find.
do that
Bye.
after.
Okay.
You can come back
I can do that after
more
she
I'll come back later.
Anytime.
I'm a
So-
little overwhelmed right now.
Throllo and Talon, y'all are left quietly in the ambience of the darkened sick bay with this genetic testing up in front of you, linking you and Raska and Nell.
Talon is looking up at it. Doctor, this is the most emotional day I have had in my entire life.
Where I come from, that would be a very good thing.
I have been so removed from my Vulcan family that I, on this day, which would be shameful in my family, do not feel any shame. I feel joy. I feel pride. I feel relief for Anel.
Anel.
I feel surprise. It is very disengaging to let myself feel things.
I know. Never been to Vulcan. I know our peoples have some history, and there's definitely a time where we would have said we didn't much like that way of doing things. I figure you get to decide for yourself. But it doesn't sound like bad things to me. Feeling joy.
And feeling joy for a thing that I've been told to feel shame for. It feels almost rebellious.
Have you considered a very dramatic haircut?
Talon chuckles at that. I laughed. Doctor, I am overwhelmed with emotion. Can you tell?
Not at all.
Is there a mirror in here?
There's a lot of reflective surfaces.
I go over to one of them and I look at myself. I look out of my mind.
Talon, you can almost imagine your mother's look on her face right now.
My mother would tell me that I was being ridiculous and out of control right now. There was a woman on the street once. She was unwell. And people would pass by her. She had this look on her face, what I look like right now. And my mother said, never be that woman. Never, ever be that woman. And I wonder if she was just misunderstood. Maybe she had Bajoran. Maybe she had Bajoran heritage too.
Maybe she just had joy.
Maybe she did.
You look like, in my medical opinion, Lieutenant Commander Talon.
Yes. I have quite a lot of research to do.
If I can help in any way.
Yes, that would be acceptable. Well, first I would like to research to see if I can find a family name. Would you help with that?
I'd love to.
All right.
I haven't felt very... I have left a lot behind as well. I think maybe it's good to let some of the past in. Where do we start?
Just walk over to the... I imagine there's a console that I would be able to access. Just walk over and start Google searching.
Are we looking for your grandfather? I'm going to rule that I have, or request that I have essentially the equivalent of like a neat like whiteboard ability on some of these displays. So I'm taking that genetic profile and drawing a big circle around it and being like, this guy?
Yes.
Fantastic.
And then Anel and mine as well.
Let's do it.
All right, you guys begin. We're gonna do a quick cut to Mala, basically like what's that? Can you remind me the title of that Tom Cruise movie?
The one where he runs?
Where he is
every movie.
wearing a button-up shirt in his underwear. And he's
Risky
you're talking
business.
about. She's risky
I am not
business.
pantsless, Eric.
I'm picturing that hallway, kind of like kind of like Breakfast Club, where there's a slide. You know what I mean? Like that risky business slide. Like Mala comes barreling down, like breathless and sliding and almost ramming straight into Jiv, who's doing this with his uniform, going, "Should have ironed this damn thing." God. You calm down. Calm down.
Okay.
Calm down. It's probably an impersonator. You know, like a performer or something. I'm sure it's not really. It couldn't be. I'm sure it's not.
It would be like the captain to just spring that kind of thing on us.
Zipper's broken.
Here, just.
He starts
We're just like fixing
Tellarite.
each other.
You start fixing each other, and then you guys hear
I'm like
a
combing
voice.
your beard with my hands.
He just goes,
trying to
don't
braid
tug on
it.
it. Don't tug on it too hard. It's supposed to be fluffy. It's a Tellarite beard.
Sorry.
And as you guys hear voices coming around the corner, he goes,
Shut. Okay.
press buttons. And he turns around just going, deep, deep. Yeah, this is looking like a Starship console. And you guys round the corner. You see. You guys totally. Yeah, you see Martina shooting the shit with a very lovely young woman that is got her hands to her face as she's listening, and you see the unmistakable bushy mustache and smiling face of Captain Montgomery Scott from the history books, right out of the Holovids. I mean, he rounds the corner. He's still wearing his the standard issue like undershirt that engineers wore back in the day when they were still Auburn uniforms. What do they call them? The Reds. I forget the official name. But he's wearing the black engineer's vest with an old school Starfleet insignia pinned onto his chest area, and his pants, everything. He looks like he's been pulled right out of a holo novel. And he comes rounding the corner with a very jolly look on his face.
I think that's a perfectly good reason to start a fight, Captain.
You call the Enterprise garbage? What do you expect me to do? And then the fight began.
Yes.
And we saw, and Chekhov, bless him, got in a few good hits, the small lad that he was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but the captain was furious.
Oh, come on.
And proud of us, but furious.
That's what I thought. That's great. Oh, I'm so sorry, Captain. This is my engineering crew. They're pressing some buttons here.
What you see is Mala has sort of like positioned cool guy style. And, like her body looks relaxed, but her face is just.
At ease, Chief. Crew, this is Captain Montgomery Scott.
Captain Montgomery. Hi.
He sticks his hand up.
Hi.
Shakes your hand.
Pleasure. What does he feel like?
He feels like you're shaking hands with somebody's very nice grandpa.
Oh, I want to feel him. Wait, like emotionally.
No.
I meant emotionally.
We know what you meant.
Chief, you can let go of his hand.
Sorry. Yeah.
Like 5 times
No,
since I found out we're related.
Mr. Scott, this is Chief
Jiv.
Mulleran.
That's Jiv.
Tank Commander
Chief Engineer.
Jiv.
Oh, Sally Ride.
I make eyes at Jiv and I give him like a.
He's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry. Shakes hands with him. And Scotty says, you know, you might be the first Tellarite engineer I've ever seen. I remember when we first met the Tellarites. Oh, that was quite the experience. They, your species caught us a bit by surprise. Although you do kind of remind me of some of the people I knew back in my home country. And Shiv is just like, I grew up reading everything you wrote, sir. Everything you wrote. I wanted to be an engineer because of what you wrote. I learned warp field dynamics based off of what you wrote. I don't know if you saw the warp core yet, but I actually had a hand in helping the engineering team design that warp core, and I would not have been able to do it unless I had read what you wrote, sir.
I work on it too.
And Mala, she does a lot of stuff too. She's also she keeps Sally Ride alive, and she's have you seen bioneural gel packs? That's new. Have you seen that? And Scotty just goes, sorry? And he said sorry. We're gonna have to show him the bioneural
Yeah, we
gel.
do.
We've actually managed to construct what could be accurately described as an artificial brain. It's not sentient, but it basically works in various areas of the ships, and it increases the computation speed. Do you have time for this? And Scotty says, oh, no, please. A brain, you say? You put a brain in the ship?
A lot of them.
I think that you're going to be in fine hands here, Captain. If you'll excuse me, I have some stuff that I have to attend to, but when you are good and ready, I will be happy to escort you back off of the ship, show you anything else that you'd like. Also, wear my manners to the rest of the crew. This is my friend Tanya Moore. We're just going to go ahead and leave Mr. Scott here in your capable hands, as I'm sure that you will show him anything that he asks about.
Shiv looks at Tanya and goes, hi.
Chief, just let me know whenever he's ready to go. You got it. Okay. All right, great.
All right, the three of you begin to have a discussion about engineering. Mr. Scott's knowledge is...
When was the last time you went to Jeffrey's tube?
Antiquated at best. Well, he basically proceeds to tell you about his time on the Enterprise.
Oh.
The other one. And begins to tell, which immediately causes him to launch into the story about how a giant... He basically launches into the story of his collision on the Dyson Sphere and how they used his old ship basically as a door wedge to rescue the Enterprise from being crushed to death. And as he begins to tell the story, Shiv is kind of like, I heard about that, but in the Dyson Sphere, that's largely classified. It's the engineering undertaking. He's like, I know, I was there, saw it up close, crashed on it, in fact. It's quite large.
This entire thing is taking place. Mala has ceased talking. Mm-hmm. She doesn't anymore. She is just ping-ponging between the two people that she idolizes. Because the reason I know about Scotty is from talking with Jiv and being mentored by Jiv, and Jiv introducing me to all these incredible people in the field that I work in. So it's just, I'm also just very excited that you get to meet him.
Yeah, it's watching your mentor meet his hero.
Yeah.
And so it's a
very emotional day.
Yeah. The conversations that they're having are pretty. I mean,
I just get to see. I just witnessed one of my closest friends meet their family. My mentor meet his idol.
I also say to Chief on our way out. I like lean in and I grab her shoulder. I'm like, Chief, be sure to ask him about the whales.
Whales.
Yeah.
Got it.
That'll lead to a good story. Okay, bye.
What are whales?
Scotty smiles and says, "Oh, that's a favorite, that's for sure." Well, you see, when we were beaming whales on board of a Klingon bird of prey, the one thing you've got to take into account is not just the whales, but the water. As it turns out, you're beaming a lot more than just a bunch of whale fat into a small space. But, as the captain said, I only had a short amount of time, but, well, we can talk about this, about transparent aluminum and all. Follow me.
Please just keep talking.
So, anyway, so I'm with the doctor, right? And you guys just keep walking and talking, and Jib is just...
doctor?
Yeah, he starts talking about McCoy. He starts talking about Dr. McCoy. And
Doctor Who. Continue.
So many doctors. A lot of doctors around.
A lot of doctors.
All right.
Okay.
So this continues. We're going to fast forward a bit. I think our next scene is actually... you guys managed to compile a bunch of research data. So, Talon, there's a lot of data to go through. At this point, it's a data grab, and then later assemble and try to put the pieces together.
Just kind of
there's a lot of broken records. What you're discovering is, by broken records, I don't mean like skipping records. I mean a lot of the records are missing and are incomplete. And what you're discovering is the Cardassian occupation was devastating to Bajoran culture and their record keeping.
Yeah.
Much like, I shouldn't say this on air, but much like some things that are happening in the world today, it wasn't just a conquest of a country, it was a cultural genocide taking place. And people were not being permitted to speak their native tongue, and people were not allowed to worship, and records were being erased. It was brutal.
Colonization.
What's that? Yeah.
Colonization.
Yeah. Think of it kind of like China taking over Tibet. It was very much just like, cool, well, this is your culture and that's nice, but we're going to make room for ours now, and everything just kind of gets it's very much it's the history of the world, right? So it's you're witnessing that in the breakdown of going through these records. And it's really rough because you're watching like family trees that just stop. And you don't know if it's because they met their fate at the end of the occupation, or if it's because the records were erased. You don't know. So it's a lot of piecemealing to go through. But you are finding paths through that lineage. Because a lot of Bajoran, it looks like a lot of Bajoran record keeping they also managed to keep it verbal as well. So that storytelling, keeping it alive, doing what you got to do to keep it alive. And it looks like you're finding those breadcrumbs all the way back. But unfortunately, you're running out of time because it's time to report to the meeting area. At which point, after your discussions, Mr. Scott is escorted back to Narendra Station after you guys spend about an hour together or so. As y'all are, Scotty gets to see a bioneural gel pack for the very first time, to which he marvels at it and admits that he's not sure he would ever allow such a thing on board his ship. He prefers his computers without nervous systems or things that look like them.
Tell me about it.
But it's actually a hard conversation to leave, because when you escort Mr. Scott back to the airlock, he's going on about another story about what it was like when they first came across the Romulans and how star bases were under attack and they were having to outrun this new plasma weapon that had never been seen before. And eventually Tanya has to interject and she says, "I'll take it from here." And she's like, "Would you mind telling me again about that thing you found at the center of the galaxy?" And she's like, "Oh, I didn't see it for myself, but from what I hear, it was a floating head that thought it was God." And they start moving off as...
Oh, that thing at the center of the galaxy, okay. There was many things they found.
Yeah. And Professor, you watch as Scotty he goes on, and he says, "Oh, it was nice meeting you last. I hope I see you again before you leave space dock."
That's a promise.
And Shiv just says, "I cannot thank you enough for, everything, forever." And Scotty just says, "Oh, there's no need to worship. I'm just an engineer, just like yourself. Just like myself." Yeah. Yeah, sure.
By the way, love the mustache.
Oh, thank you. It took a while to grow. Well, shall we? And he takes Tanya's arm and the two of them walk back to the station.
I just do the thing where you just stare and look back at Shiv and just...
Shiv looks at you and says, "That man has been instrumental in saving the Federation and revolutionizing engineering. That is Montgomery Scott."
I just sort of, I nudge him with my elbow and I go, "That's us too."
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they'll name an engine after us someday.
Oh.
And the two of you...
Oh, don't tease me.
And the two of you walk back to the engineering section. Sidebar. Thank you, Star Trek Online. All right.
Meeting. What else you got, episode?
How many more feels you got, episode?
A lot. Let's do it.
So everyone convenes in the room. It's technically the first senior staff meeting since a year and a half. You guys are technically, by the way,
Not for us, but for
still
them.
officially until everything is complete. You guys are still technically officially on shore leave.
Yeah. I
So-
beeline to sit next to.
I'm not there.
Oh, okay. Well, then I look around the room and then.
Everyone except for Lark is in attendance, and everyone starts to situate into their seats.
Commander, where's Ensign Sage?
Best ask the computer. Seems.
Computer, what is the location of Ensign Sage?
I'm at my quarters.
Ensign Lark Sage is in her quarters.
Okay, you guys were
Doctor, Lieutenant.
in the medbay earlier. You did a test, right? What happened?
Yes, we did genetic testing and discovered that we have a shared ancestor.
That's wonderful.
Talon, that's great. You
Congratulations.
and Lark?
We are cousins.
Isn't that cool?
That's
Paul is way too
Nice
happy
cousins.
at this meeting right now.
Small ship.
wow.
It is very...
You must be overwhelmed.
I have managed to contain myself now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's great.
Sage
wow.
fainted. We caught her. Don't worry. It was a really exciting time. Hi.
Oh, well, she needs to have a rest.
8 cousins.
8th cousin.
Yes, cousins. Is she all right? Is she okay?
She was very overwhelmed and needed to retreat to her quarters. It is possible that she is still feeling some... I do not want to reveal too much personal information, but...
Sure.
Then we'll leave it to you to catch your cousin up
we can do
on the
that.
matters of the meeting, and if she's feeling well, she knows where the meeting is.
I
And
want to make sure she's okay. Doc, can you maybe hail her and let her know, or?
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna
Okay.
step into the.
Sure.
Well, the hallway in this case would be the bridge.
The
wouldn't it?
bridge is unoccupied. You guys are still in
Great, cool.
dock. So you step outside and chirp.
She
So-
sure us to Raska.
I'm not gonna answer. I'm not answering.
damn it,
Okay.
I'm gonna get you.
She sure us to Sage. Are you all right?
Now I'm gonna worry.
Can you hear me? Do you need medical attention? Am I being intrusive? Is this too many questions? Are you getting these? This is the doctor, by the way.
There's no response.
Pop my head back in. Lieutenant Commander Talon, I'm not getting a response, and it might be that everything is fine, but maybe we should just check.
Yes, sir, do you... may we be dismissed?
Yeah. Should we? I don't want to overwhelm her, but I was kind of hoping that she would be present at this meeting because I wanted to discuss the thing that we need to talk about. This thing that we all saw, this thing that we experienced, and I figured Sage would want to be here for that. Oh, and I pulled you away for Scotty. I'm sorry, I didn't realize this. That must have been the time you were in
Yeah,
Medbay when
friend,
everything was-
you know, just being there for a friend. But
What was your impression of our friend? How was Sage doing? How did she...
lot of emotions.
Okay.
But
now
last
I'm worried
I left,
about it.
Yeah, so she
it was
could be in
joy.
trouble.
I mean, mostly joy, but confusing joy.
She
and-
sure us to say it's just a warning. We might be bringing friends. We're just checking on you. I hope you're okay. Okay, bye.
I should.
I'll respond.
There was a.
More people.
You're beginning to become aware that your silence is starting to alarm the crew, which means security might be reporting to your quarters in like 30 seconds.
I'm real worried about their little bird.
Everybody, there's a part of me that like wants us all to go
Yeah.
and make sure that our friend and crew person's okay. But again, if she just needs some time,
There was a there.
Do you want to?
Without saying too much
yeah,
of her business,
right.
there might be something that she does need to process outside of.
Outside of the
There was
learning that Talon
something
was her
in the
cousin.
meeting.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
There was
okay.
additional information that was personal, and I did not want to share that without her permission.
Does this have anything to do with the news that we all heard earlier, just hours ago, about what's happening?
Is that what you're saying?
It was at the meeting, yeah. It's not my place, but that just
Okay,
there was something.
Commander. What do you think? Should
She's not responding to hail. She could be in some kind of trouble. Enough things have happened. I want to go and make sure she's
But
physically
right, but
safe.
again,
That's the point where your response comes in.
I don't want to overwhelm you, so
respond.
No,
As you guys are getting ready to
I heard
mobilize.
you say it, and I just didn't want to roll past it.
yeah.
maybe just Lieutenant Commander on the dock. You guys can just
If it's a security situation, sir.
But at that point, you hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I'm fine. I lost track of time and couldn't hear the hails. I'll be there momentarily.
Martinez to Ensign Sage.
Yes, Captain.
Ensign, if you wanted to sit this meeting out in lieu of the revelations earlier this afternoon, which I just found out, that is completely okay. We just wanted to make sure. Just want to make sure you were okay. But if you are up for joining us in this meeting, we're going to go over something important. So it's your call, Ensign.
Just give me a minute, Captain. I'll be there momentarily.
Thank you. Martinez out.
So we'll cut to you arriving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some moments later.
Just so you know, I couldn't hear because I was.
Yeah.
I
a ball.
got her a cream soda out of the replicator. It's on
But
the
I'm
table.
fine. I look completely fine.
So when you walk in, you find a cream soda waiting for you at your seat, and
Next to me.
Thank you.
Ensign, first of all, congratulations. This is great.
It was very surprising. It's been, wow.
We've been through a lot. We've all been through a lot.
Just drinking it.
Let's go ahead and get started then. I wanted us to discuss something before we are in attendance of a meeting with the Vice Admiral later that may or may not be very fun. But right now, we need to talk about this shared vision that we had. If that would be all right with everybody here. What the hell happened? Do we have any theories? What do we know?
Oh, that wasn't me speaking. Sorry. Just overwhelmed.
I have been thinking about this over the past several weeks since it happened, right? It's been like several weeks. I mean,
in your time.
besides the year and a half.
Yeah, in your timeline, it's been
Lieutenant Commander, yeah, go on.
It's been a couple of weeks. Yeah.
And my prevailing theory is that we witnessed or experienced a prophecy. It is possible that what we experienced was a Bajoran prophecy, and the singularity that we were near when it happened was an undiscovered Bajoran orb.
At the risk of asking the obvious question, Asia's on the other side of the galaxy. Are we presuming another undiscovered wormhole, or how would that get this far?
It is possible that it traveled by wormhole.
And what is a Bajoran orb exactly? What do we know about them?
Well, I'm still learning about them myself, but do you have...
I would love any information you have. Are they ever associated with medical miracles?
Jiv, just as you're talking about me, aren't you?
I'm only if you're.
No, I mean I was a goner.
Yeah.
I had a panel blow up in front of me, and I had, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of my internal organs sliced up. Yeah, and then I woke up on that bed feeling, well, I mean, I was a little disoriented, but I was okay.
Right.
I mean, I thought that vision was my brain shutting down because I was dying.
Yeah. So why us? Why us? Why did we experience this prophetic vision?
Captain, there is more information that I would like to share with you.
Please.
Ensign Sage and I experienced an encounter with what we believe is the same Bajoran Vedic.
What is a Vedic?
A Vedic is a religious figure, somewhat like a priest or a monk.
Why this? Wait, is this a shared ancestor of you both?
I have reason to believe it is our shared ancestor, but we have not confirmed whether or not that is the case.
The first time I saw him was years ago at Starfleet graduation.
You saw him.
He seemed real. We spoke. We had a whole conversation. he seemed real enough, but then...
And this is the same person. You're saying that you saw him years ago in person, but this is the same individual that you saw in this vision.
Yes.
That Lieutenant Commander Tuan has seen.
We saw him on the station.
I thought it was just my mind playing tricks.
And I thought it was just an actual person, but he appeared and disappeared very mysteriously.
So, both of you have a shared ancestor that somehow is reaching out to you from beyond the grave?
We think perhaps. He also told us something very specific about our vision that we all experienced. He said, the orb of journeys, and I'm not reading this Estelan, Elisa's reading it. He said, the orb of journeys has been lost for a long time, and that the orb and the pull are connected.
He didn't really tell me.
Wait, the thing that's been the thing that we've been encountering has been pulling stuff all around and like smashed moons into planets and
first on the USS Sally Ride to a statistical degree that's vanishingly improbable.
And the focus might be because this Vedic is an ancestor of you both.
Yes, and perhaps he knows where this hidden orb, the orb of journeys, is, and he has been leading us to it.
What's the significance of the orb? What is it? You said you were learning about it. Are we supposed to find it? What does it do?
I'm not sure.
Miracles, apparently.
This whole thing is miraculous.
I mean, we're somehow all connected in some way since we all experienced the vision. No one else on the ship did.
Well, I know that it's not uncommon in Starfleet for crews, especially tight-knit crews, to experience things in the unknown together, sometimes psychically, mentally, things that members of the United Federation of Planets maybe aren't used to experiencing. But that bond in a crew can lead to these kinds of connections. Which I guess, I mean, you know, yay for us, great, but that makes sense to me, at least. But the rest of this is incredible.
It is. In every sense of the word, incredible. I am trying to gather as much information as I can.
Thank you for sharing it, sure, yeah.
And I will continue to try to support this theory with actual data.
What?
At the end of... Captain,
Yeah.
Was the last thing all of you saw you with some kind of instrument?
yeah, you were pointing in a
sextant.
direction.
Yes.
It's an instrument of navigation.
I drew it.
That's a very good drawing.
That is a very good drawing.
You're a very good artist, Commander Rue.
Well, don't be embarrassed, that's very good.
But
You draw as well as you fight, that's impressive.
Sir.
We did not know you were an artist.
So, I was pointing to that, holding that, using that? What is the significance of that? What is that?
It's an old navigational
Right.
device. I think one notable factor about it is that it's relatively locationally independent.
Okay.
It should operate the same anywhere in the galaxy. Same principles.
Was there anything else? Anything else that anybody here remembers from the vision that might be helpful?
Wounds, I understand. Broken bones, I understand. Genes, I understand. This is...
Doc, we're all a little out of our element, or at least I am too. That's okay.
We are entering a spiritual realm. This is difficult for me, in particular, to come to terms with, but I am learning to embrace certain things about myself.
Sure, you know.
It's a new field of the empirical. Not yet understood. A matter of discovery.
Commander Rue, I don't know how detailed your memory of the instrument was, but if there's a way if I could study your drawing closer, maybe I can figure out if it was pointing to some coordinate or...
Well, I wish I drew as well as I fight, but we'll see what is useful.
Shiv raises his hand and says, real quick. And it might be completely irrelevant at this point, considering the trail is now 1.5 years old.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying to dig this up because I would be happy if we left it behind, but we were talking initially about trying to track down where the hell that board came from.
Right.
Is that still on the docket, Captain?
That seems like a mission objective of patrolling the area.
Could be. Yeah.
I was just curious because, the vision thing, I'm glad we're finally talking about it, to be honest with you.
Right.
It's felt weird not talking about it, but, and I'm not used to, it's the same as y'all. I'm just not used to...
Lieutenant Commander, are you saying that they might be connected in some way? Trying to track down the source of that drone and whatever?
Nah, I doubt they're connected, Captain. In all honesty, my instinct just tells me that... Okay, I'll be honest. I don't like this spiritual stuff. And my head can't wrap around it, so I don't have anything to input here. Just that I regenerated when I should have died, and that's kind of strange to me. And this Borg thing I can get my head around. Technology makes sense to me. I can get that, Going after jackasses who aren't supposed to be doing what they're doing, I get that. But that's all I got.
Rue's watching Shishiros very carefully.
Well, like in all things, Lieutenant Commander, everyone else here, if any of you are feeling like this is out of our element, we've dealt with a mostly omnipotent pain in the ass Q in the past. And even that can be explained in terms that we just haven't learned yet. There is no such thing as the unknown, only things temporarily hidden, temporarily not understood. So, I can't rule out whatever affects this vision and this orb and this miraculous resurrection. We can't rule out any of those effects. We can't rule out that there, as far as we're concerned, there might be mystical and spiritual forces at play here.
Maybe we need that blueberry lady back again.
Sorry, who?
Oh, yeah.
The lady talking about the blueberries.
Dahlia.
Yeah.
Yes, she took care of that terrible artifact for us.
I smile a little at Delon's judgmentalness.
Do we think she might know something about a Bajoran orb?
She's one of the most mystical people I've ever seen.
I think the person to ask, to be honest, would be the Bajorans.
They're a little busy, aren't they?
Go talk to a Vedic. Well, yeah, I can't exactly fly into Bajor space right now. The Bajor sector is apparently a hotbed of Dominion activity.
What else is happening
Mala
out
looks
there?
right at you and then stops.
I know someone who is not Bajoran, but knows a bit about Bajoran history. I do not know if he would be responsive if I reached out to him, but...
I'm sure he would, Lieutenant Commander.
It has been quite some time.
Any information we could get would be incredibly helpful.
Who?
The Betazoid Ambassador, Ambassador Rel.
Oh, of course.
Lieutenant Commander, don't feel that because we were gone for 1.5 years that we don't have the same allies that we did before we were gone. Just this afternoon, I reminded myself that we have to continue on with our lives as best we can. So.
Of course, Captain.
Right.
You are right.
Okay.
Talon realizes what she just said.
I think that's the first time that's happened ever since our academy days.
Who are you?
And
Computer, note this in my log.
And my secret plan to request Lieutenant Commander Talon to be on the USS Sally Ride has finally paid off. She said I was right.
I shall put in your transfer immediately. We're done here. Takes the communicator off. Walks out of Starfleet.
Rose to the rank of captain for that. All right.
Done and done.
What What else have we heard from home?
We're sifting through a lot of information, a lot of intelligence, a lot of data. I'll be issuing updates.
Sam, did you do a deep dive into so you were looking at the tactical reports?
Yes.
Okay. One of the things you would have definitely come across is some of the losses that the Federation has suffered. Starbase 138 was destroyed 4 months ago in a Dominion attack.
Yikes. That's where we were. Wait,
That's where.
That's where. There's double duty there. A Betazoid at
and a
138.
Klingon, right? Or no?
No, I'm just Rel is
No, yeah.
at 138 and B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You freaking. We don't know this yet.
I know.
In the initial assault, any place that was not very defensible, the Dominion seemed to know about, and they came at it.
While some of this conversation about that asset's been happening, I want to check the casualty lists on a pad a little surreptitiously.
I would say roll computer, and
So what is that? Control security?
that would probably be. Yeah, I'll let you do control security, and the Sally Ride will help here.
Thank you. I'd like one for cautious. I need.
Yeah, take it.
I need to know.
Do it.
Yeah, I need to.
I can't deal with Eric.
Okay.
You, Derek.
Difficulty is 3. Oh no, I'm sorry, it would be 2. Difficulty would be 2.
4 successes.
Okay.
5 successes.
5?
5. Sally.
5 total.
Ooh.
So get back that momentum. You're looking for the name Nidus Rel in the casualty list. It is not there. There are 212 documented survivors of Starbase 138. The Dominion was destroying fleeing civilian transports, apparently, which meant they were just firebombing the place. It was not to take Starbase 138, it was to annihilate it. Probably shock and awe tactics, since they were hitting the Federation really hard. It basically happened around the time of the destruction of 7th Fleet. What's shocking is it did not take many Dominion ships to pull it off. But Nidus Rel apparently retreated to, with about 120 survivors, reported he arrived safely with minor injuries it was documented that he was received by a Federation starship, and after a few weeks in recovery, returned to Betazoid.
Beta Z.
Beta Z, thank you. Beta Zoid is you.
That's me.
Beta Z.
Okay, put your arms down.
So, they are currently reading this, but we don't know this yet.
Probably, for narrative, let's say that upon the mention of the name, you kind of surreptitiously leaned over and thought to scan for that name.
Yeah, I'm sort of, in the middle of a meeting. You're kind of checking out.
Scrolling through, and the computer brings up that summary, and then all the other information. Current status is unknown, considering this.
This was 3-4 months ago.
Starbase 138 was destroyed about the time 7th Fleet was destroyed.
Right.
You said 4 months,
I'd say about 3 months, really.
right?
It's kind of, in actuality, in this particular time period in DS9, they don't give star dates, because they were just kind of which we're going to start doing too. We're going to become a little more episodic and jumping it through the events, much like DS9 did. So in here, I would say, it's going to be about the same time 7th Fleet was destroyed, so a few months ago.
I'm going to send that information to Talon rather than talk about it in the middle of the briefing.
Okay. As the conversation continues forward, Talon, you see the data input come up on a screen at the table next to you. You see the casualty lists. You see Starbase 138 destroyed under Dominion attack. 2 starships were lost. 8 civilian transports were destroyed, and the remaining were allowed to leave. His name is not on the casualty list. It reports that he made it back to Beta Z, and all the other information I dispensed with minor injuries.
I look over at the commander and just nod.
However, it does also inevitably mention the current status of Beta Z.
Oh god. Oh god.
That pops up on the screen.
Which is what I thought the nod meant.
No, I didn't get there yet.
Trust Talon's discretion, because I don't want to have that.
Well, while we're here, why don't we do this? If anybody has any pressing matters or concerns or ideas for what we are adding to our list of scientific endeavors in priority order, let's go ahead and discuss that now. Otherwise, what I would like is for our science team to come up with a plan and multiple options and multiple things that we, the Sally Ride, can do. And we can bring this up in tomorrow morning's briefing. We can discuss those then and figure out our plan, because I have a feeling that whatever we might hear from Vice Admiral Nash tonight may change our plans depending on that. The other thing I would like, Commander, is for you to, in the next, few hours, maybe this evening, if you can compile a list of pertinent summaries of information that everybody in our crew can look over, then everybody in our crew can do that in our own quarters at a later time. It's the type of information that is difficult to go over. I'm sure you all understand and know what I'm talking about, and we all need to know what's happening, but we can do that later in our own time, just so that we are kept aware of everything that has been happening.
Aye, sir.
To catch us all up. Thank you, Commander. So, great. So then before we leave this meeting, does anybody have anything that they would like to contribute to this list of things for us to go do, science-wise?
Nothing comes
A
to my mind.
scientific survey of the number of ways that traders shipping Borg can be brought to justice. Sir?
Okay, I like that. Can you find a scientific way to write that down? Thank you, Lieutenant
Yes, sir.
Commander. Shiv, did you have something?
Vaporizing them seems to be a pretty good solution. Not a Starfleet solution, but it is when they don't leave you any choice.
I'd like an update on the Strethians, whether they encountered any more Romulan aggression.
We're definitely adding that to the list. We're going to do that.
And we were supposed to return
Yeah.
to set them up with some
The satellite
technology.
We'll do that, I'm sure.
That might be tricky now, considering the resource strain that the Federation's is going to be under with the Dominion. But,
We'll do what we can.
Mala and I can jury-rig something
Exactly.
Yeah.
for them to use.
Exactly. We'll do what we can. I'm sure Admiral Hebert will
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
prove
we'll,
that.
we'll figure it out.
Okay. Chief, anything else that you can think of? All right. Well,
No.
you've got some time. If anything comes up, we'll discuss this tomorrow morning.
We could also we could have Lieutenant Baker update records of the gravitational anomalies.
When was the last time we experienced one? Weeks to us, a year and a half to everybody else?
As far as we know.
Okay. Good. We'll do that. Add that to the list. Lieutenant Baker will do that. Ensign Sage. Any ideas?
Oh, permission to be dismissed, Captain?
Yeah. Granted. Thank you.
The entire time, Sage was fighting one of her values very badly.
I think if we're all done here, I think that's permission for everybody to be dismissed.
All right.
We'll probably be called to a dinner, so we're still technically on shore leave, so the afternoon is yours,
Right.
and I'll see everybody in the evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Chief, could I catch you for a minute?
Yes, Commander.
Everybody begins to filter out of the room. Shuffling of uniforms as everyone quietly, uncharacteristically for Jiv, quietly moves out of the room.
I guess
And
I'll
then-
take the cream soda, put it back in the replicator to
Yeah,
do the
reclaim it.
dishes.
I didn't drink it.
Sure.
Eight's reclaimed, and you walk out, and the door is closed.
Well, I don't even need to insight check. We know something's deeply wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Mala on a walk.
Okay.
for this.
You wait a few moments, and then the crew leaves the bridge.
So
What's going on?
Mala's feeling Rue calmer than before.
You had a few spikes in the meeting.
Yeah, a few. But there is a buried grief, but it feels like incredibly loud music that Janelle picked up the stereo and moved it a few houses down to try to keep things disciplined and quiet for Mala.
Okay.
There's no easy way to say it. Bejor's under occupation.
Bejor?
Bejor?
Fuck me. Beta Zed's under occupation.
What?
The planetary defenses were obsolete.
When?
Not too long ago.
What about the colonies on?
They have that sector for the most part, the surrounding colonies. They have the neighboring sector. Calandra, that's where they sprung the attack.
No. The Vice Admiral didn't say anything about that. That didn't happen.
Probably didn't want to bring it up in the meeting, same as I didn't want to bring it up while everyone was in there.
What else do we know? Is that how many casualties, Commander?
The occupation itself, the conquering, was quick. It took
How long?
10 hours to take Beta Zed. The colonies probably fell pretty quickly, too. Not a lot of casualties.
Nope, not a lot of casualties.
Something falls that quickly. There's not a lot of fighting done.
Okay.
Started putting out the calls into subspace for the Beta Z crew members, the Trill, everyone who's from nearby. I think I'm looking over tactics. It looks like they have a chance out at the front. Take it back. But
Okay. So there's a chance.
there is.
Thank you.
Put my arm around you.
It's my home.
I know. My home too. You're gonna take it.
I will go
trained
back.
half those kids.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it. You realize Rue has walked you up to Tristan's office, and the door's open, and I let him know ahead of time. You're excused from the dinner tonight.
Thank you, Commander.
So sorry.
I'm glad it was you that told me.
Hopefully next time we talk about it, there's better news.
If you have anything to say about it, I know it will be. I turn and head into Tristan's.
For a guy who's on shore leave, he sure looks like he's expecting you.
Yeah. Any messages? I would have immediately, in the meeting, checked if there were any messages sent to the ship.
There were, yes. there's a backlog of messages that have been sent to Narendra, particularly after the Klingon Empire and particularly after the Khitomer Accords were signed again. There's all sorts of backlogged of information. Apparently, which you're also able to demise from looking at a lot of the messages, is that when Narendra ceased communicating with the rest of the galaxy, everyone started asking why.
Yeah.
And apparently, the Klingon Empire and the Federation both sent research vessels to find out what's going on, including rescue craft and a small strike force, expecting trouble. And the whole system was quarantined when it was discovered that there was this temporal freezing effect taking place. Science teams were stationed around Narendra Station for months trying to figure out how to solve the problem. But they couldn't get inside, and scans were bouncing back and everything. So the message backlog, a lot of them are... a few of them are former friends that you used to know, but a lot of them are from your family. And a lot of them are asking you to please contact them.
Yeah.
And after about 6 months, as you're scrolling through a bunch of these messages that have been left in data format, you begin to see a resignation come over some of these messages. And you can see your mother in particular, as you're scrolling through, she seems to be aware that she's writing to someone who can't hear her anymore. And it's kind of these messages of, I still believe you're out there somewhere. Like throwing a message out into the dark, knowing that her daughter is up there in space somewhere. And this sort of refusal to accept that you're gone. And then around the time of the occupation, the messages abruptly stop. And there's nothing. It's just an empty box after that.
Well, I imagine I can't contact an occupied planet, so we can hack it.
Are there ways around that?
I mean, you have to get espionage. You wouldn't be able. I mean, establishing kind of some kind of link to Beta Z. I mean, the Federation is trying to use back channels right now, undoubtedly.
Right.
Because while Beta Z may have surrendered, there's undoubtedly a resistance on Beta Z right now.
In that, where there's a resistance and maybe they're trying to get information out, and the Federation is trying to obtain information. Has there been any communication? What does the Federation know that they can reveal to at least senior officers of a Starfleet ship?
You'd have to put in a request to Starfleet Intelligence or to one of the admirals.
Right.
But it's conceivable that that's information you could acquire.
I imagine that with what's happening, that there are people that are going, these people are alive, these are the survivors, get this list out, message in a bottle type thing to people that are occupied.
It's possible.
It's also exactly the kind of message that could be offered as a diplomatic concession at some point to let things through.
That's true.
Which is also the way, out of character, the Vorta happen to roll fairly frequently.
Okay,
Aren't we
so-
magnanimous?
So, all right, so if it's been 3 months, maybe there's been some movement on that. Maybe there is,
It's possible.
okay.
But it does leave, I mean, the Dominion did just occupy a world that's filled with telepaths. So I imagine that this
And
is
my family's
presenting...
on one of the outlying colony planets. Far less resources.
But does that mean that they're also occupied, or they're not occupied?
I don't,
Beta
I
Z,
don't
is
know
it a system of
what's happening with the colonies.
Planets, or yeah?
You're gonna have to start digging.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is it's like just like in World War II. It's a time of war. Like no one knows where the hell their family is right now. It's that chaos where suddenly you feel the urge to reach out to find your loved ones, and there's a backlog of everyone trying to find out where like any kind of natural disaster, looking for their names, trying to find out where they are.
The main difference between now and World War II is we can send messages through subspace. So that's why I'm like,
yeah,
So
but
very far.
Detailed
It's not-
accountings of
right.
who lives and dies under military things is not always a great thing to broadcast to the universe.
well,
Yeah.
here's the thing though: is in any time of war, the number one thing to do to disrupt your opponent is to completely sever communications. If you can disrupt communications across their lines, you are in a tremendously advantageous position. So Beta Z is not communicating with the Federation right now. It is in a blackout. And if the intelligence agency, if anybody does have a back channel to it, you're going to have to go digging for it. The colonies, that's information you might be able to find out. Mm-hmm. But again, Starfleet intelligence is
spread thin, I imagine.
Spread pretty thin right now.
Yeah,
The changeling threat has really stretched Starfleet intelligence thin.
If you want. If you want to, I mean.
No, I'm gonna have to talk to him.
Tristan.
We got your back.
Watch me if I do an incredibly bad idea soon.
Tristan. I'm sure Commander told you everything?
I know everything. They've been keeping me up to date.
I know I don't come here very often. I'm not a very good betazoid.
Why? What makes a good betazoid?
I've rejected who I am for so long. And I ran away from everything that connects me to what I am.
Mala.
Someone very important to me. Someone I loved. They died. While I was connected to them, we have this thing, sort of a genetic bond mate, a soulmate. His name was Nemid Tlux. I was in his head when he died. And I haven't been able... to be who I am since. And I ran away from it. I hid in things that couldn't feel. And now I don't know if I can ever return.
He reaches out and puts his hands on your arms and says, Mala, that doesn't make you a bad betazoid. It just means you're alive. That you're a person. The same person who saved this ship and made it possible for Jenny to be alive. The same person that helped keep Jiv alive and from leaving. The same person who dove headfirst into an isolytic warhead when it was about to explode, even though you were terrified out of your mind. Running from pain doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you a person.
And I had help.
That's family.
Yeah.
The story isn't told yet. We don't know about the colonies. So don't mourn just yet. They need you right now.
Yeah.
So do we.
I don't want to be afraid anymore.
If Shiv were here, he would tell you that maybe now's the time to get angry.
I tell her I would say that.
Yeah. It's why I'm glad he's not a counselor. But in this case, he might be right. Anger isn't necessarily a negative emotion. And so long as it doesn't become bitterness, it can really help you heal and clear the air and see things and stay focused. So, and then he leans over and gently wraps his arms around you. I think you're a wonderful Betazoid.
Thank you.
We have a meeting with Nash now, with 4 minutes left. So we'll cut really quickly.
I just want to say I went to go find Zadis after the meeting.
Okay. It's been a quiet dinner with Norwell Nash. He is that same. He seems so much smaller as a person than he used to.
I told him if there's some members of the senior staff that are missing, it's because they were excused from the meeting because, as he can imagine, we've all just been catching up and learning with what's been happening.
He doesn't ask a single question.
All right.
You guys are sitting there, and for a while, the only sound in the room was just the clinking of utensils on plates as you guys are eating. And after a while, Admiral Hebert is sitting there just kind of looking over at him. And a few moments pass, and he finally sets down his dinnerware and says, Sally Ride's done pretty good work out here, Captain.
We've tried.
I don't regret my decision sending you out here. I shudder to think of what would have happened if I hadn't.
Yeah.
This is my last trip as an admiral in Starfleet. I'm stepping down. That seems to catch Hebert's attention as she looks up. My daughter was in the 7th Fleet, Captain.
I'm sorry, sir.
Lieutenant Tyler Nash. She was a chief science officer. Served on board the USS Pacifica, Nova class. Anyway, she was the one that always pushed back against my sense of, dare I say, my more military-leaning thinking when it came to Starfleet.
Science officers usually do that.
Yeah. It's what happens, I suppose, when your career is all about facts and truth. Mine was always about winning. Since this is my last trip, I decided to bring you a piece of information that was classified and above your pay grade, but pertinent to what you do. And Hebert, again, looks over at him, and he says, I'm going to leave this with you. And he slides a data pad, and he says, look at it when I'm gone. My ship is departing tomorrow morning. Good luck, Captain, with everything.
Thank you, sir. Truly.
Commander. He says, and Admiral Hebert, you will remain in command here at Narendra Station. Well, that's it then. Clear skies. He rises from the table. Everyone immediately, Admiral Hebert stands up, and he unceremoniously just turns and slowly walks out of the room.
I'll escort him out. He's an admiral.
Okay. You see him out. As he's leaving, you glance down at the data pad just in time to see the images of Citrian 7 intact with its moon in orbit. Data that was taken just months ago. And that's where we have to stop.
Of course.
So an abrupt sign off because we ran right up to 7 o'clock. But guys, an amazing game. Thank you so much. You guys, not an easy game. Catch us here tomorrow on Geek and Sundry. We're having International Tabletop Day tomorrow. And
Will not be this sad.
and then see us here again Friday next week. We're going to go institute friend care now, and we will see you guys later. Until then, hailing frequencies are closed.